Hello. Welcome in, everybody. It is week 10 of fantasy football. This is the Sunday Social brought to you by Fantasy Six Pack. And what do you know it? We have the founder of Fantasy Six Pack below us right now, Mr. Joe Bond himself. How's it going, Joe? How are you doing today?
Oh, hanging in there, man. Just another busy Sunday.
I hear you there. How about you, Dylan? How you doing this fine Sunday?
Doing well, man. It's a beautiful morning. We got football on already. Not much of a beautiful game to watch, but it's still football.
Silver linings. We got football early in the morning. We'll take it.
Absolutely.
Now, before we jump on into things, guys, make sure you do hit that like button. Go to YouTube, subscribe. Go to the audio channel as well. We got Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all that. And if you do like what we are giving out, leave a review. Nobody hates a bad review. I mean, a good review, but a bad review is bad publicity, good publicity. It's all the same in my opinion. But also, don't forget to check out our membership page on our website to get into the Discord if you want to, get access to the DFS guys, Chris Robbin, Dave Eddy, Keith Flemming, Alan, who's going to be on it a little bit. But fantasy6pack.net/plans. Check that out. There are some free channels, but it's better if you get in on the action. All right, but that's enough of self-promoting. Dylan, Joe, we get a sneak peek into your week 10 rankings from the number one ranker currently at Fantasy Pros for their in-season accuracy contest. Take it away, Dylan. What's the first question you got for him?
All right, Joe, we're going to talk about Tua Tagovailoa first off. You're not too into him in a decent matchup against the Rams here. You have him as your quarterback 16. ECR has him still as a QB1, quarterback 12. What are your thoughts on Tua? Is it the Tyreek injury news that you're kind of waiting on, or
it's a little bit, but also, I mean, let's be real. This offense goes through the running game, and Tua hasn't really connected yet. Hill and him hasn't really blown up. Waddle was bad last week if it wasn't saved for like a late touchdown. It's the passing game just hasn't really gotten back on track yet. And yeah, I get the matchup is great. But I don't know, man. Like it feels like when they get in close, and I think I said this last week even, like when they get in close, they just hand the ball off to Mostert. They'll give the ball to Achane even here and there within the 5, but if they're within like the 15, 10, that's definitely going to Achane. So yeah, it's more like he just lacks the touchdown upside really than anything. So I kind of just like the other guys a little bit better.
No, that makes a lot of sense, man. And he doesn't give you anything with his legs either. So yeah, no, that it makes sense to have him outside QB1 territory. Moving over to the running back position, we're going to start with J.K. Dobbins, who you're a fan of this week. Borderline RB1, running back 13. ECR a little bit further down on him. Running back 19. He's taking on the Tennessee Titans. Joe, so what are your thoughts on J.K. Dobbins this week?
Yeah, it's a tough matchup, man, but he's getting so much volume and he's playing well. Like sometimes you can't let the matchup take you out of starting good players, really, is what it comes down to. And Dobbins has been really good. So I'm totally fine, starting him and just rolling with him in this week. Just ride it while it's still hot, man. Like you never know with him, but
yeah, for sure.
He's been performing really, really well. So in my opinion, there's just really no reason to go away from him.
You're not worried at all about Gus Edwards maybe being activated today? You got Kamani Vidal still as well there.
Vidal was getting like almost next to nothing. Edwards would take a little bit away. I do believe that. So that could be something. But I'm still gonna go with Dobbins in most cases here.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I just worry if Edwards is activated. I just hope he doesn't come in and be that red zone guy, because that would hurt J.K. Dobbins' value rest of the season for sure. Just because
Yeah, I mean,
think
rest of the season, but you wonder like
yeah.
today if they're going to slow roll it with him. That would
Sure.
that would be the thing.
Absolutely. And then Joe, this guy, I feel like we touch on him every week. You're always liking him less than ECR. They have him, Mr. Jahmyr Gibbs, as RB1 this week, ECR RB11. Joe, you have him down at 15 outside your top 12. What's giving you pause here on the Lions running back taking on the Houston Texans on Sunday Night Football? I'm excited for that game, actually, too. That'll be a fun one.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's kind of the same thing. Like you always have to worry with Gibbs and Montgomery. Like they kind of eat into each other sometimes. And I know Gibbs is like the better PPR back. He's going to get all the pass catches, and he can blow up any given week. But there have been weeks where like Montgomery gets the 2 touchdowns, and then Gibbs is sort of left out. Like, well, what about me? And so that's gonna limit his floor, in most weeks. And I think that's what hurts his ranking in a lot of weeks, because the projections just, they take that into consideration. You're not sitting Jahmyr Gibbs in most cases. Like you'd have to have a really stud running back room for you to sit Gibbs. I get it. But it is something you do have to consider when you when you have Jahmyr Gibbs on your team. And it's one of the reasons why I didn't draft him anywhere, because I didn't want to have that headache, to be honest with you.
Yeah. I hear that for sure, Joe. Switching over to the wide receiver position now, we got Josh Downs. Joe, you have him ranked inside your top 12. ECR still a little bit down on him at 15. That's still, I mean, who would have thought we'd have Josh Downs in wide receiver 1 territory this season, man? Give me your thoughts here with Michael Pittman ruled out this week. Did all those targets just flow to Josh Downs now, man?
I mean, they already were. So, I mean, how many more are we going to get? But yes, that does bump him up even more, in my opinion. And he has been Flacco's favorite target all year long whenever he was under center. So, go ahead and just ride it. Does that throw a little extra coverage his way? Maybe. The Bills defense is pretty good most of the time.
Yeah.
And last week didn't quite work out, but you got to go back and, there's something I say all the time. And Mike, you repeat it with me plenty, is volume matters more so for running backs, but give me a guy who's getting close to double-digit targets a lot of weeks with Joe Flacco. That you're going to go back to that well pretty often, in my opinion. So I like that, just gives you more opportunities.
Volume is often referred to as king in fantasy football. Well, who is more of a king, volume or Derrick Henry?
Derrick Henry.
Nah, volume.
No,
I chose volume.
He gets both, so we're good.
Yeah.
He's the best of both worlds.
Yeah, for sure. Looking at another guy here, Joe. This one gets me excited. Khalil Shakur in the opposite side of the Indy Buffalo game. You have him as your wide receiver 14. ECR still borderline wide receiver 2 at wide receiver 23. That's a 9-spot difference, Joe. What's giving you the good vibes about Khalil Shakur here? Is it with Amari Cooper being dinged up, Keon Coleman out? What are your thoughts there?
Yeah, so it's a combination of stuff, right? It's we know there's no Coleman. Cooper has been banged up, did not play last week. We're still waiting for the official designation if he plays this week. But even when Cooper was in there, and he wasn't getting a full allotment of snaps. And so you saw Allen really leaning on Shakir when Cooper was healthy. And I think they're just going to see more of that. Even if Cooper is active, I see no reason why Shakir can't just ball out in this matchup. So, yeah, again, he's going to be a PPR like target hog. So you got to love that in PPR formats.
Absolutely, man. I love that call there. Looking at the tight ends now, we actually have some pretty good ones, which is a surprise here with the tight end position. Jake Ferguson, Joe, You're still a fan of him this week with Cooper Rush starting at quarterback. Dak Prescott out for this season with a torn hamstring, man. That's not one you hear often, but sounds pretty brutal. ECR has him as tight end 12, borderline startable here, but yeah, you have him as tight end 7. What are your thoughts here? What's giving you good vibes about Ferguson stuff?
I think it's going to be more game script than anything. Look, Dallas is not going to be a good team the rest of the season.
Agreed.
Facts, right? I mean, we all know this. Their running game isn't very good. They've basically told Zeke you can stay home.
Yep.
And so Dowdell's been all right, but look, the defense has been just chewed up and spit out, man. Like, and it's not good. So what's that going to leave? It's going to leave them passing the ball quite a bit. We know CeeDee Lamb's going to get his. Next up is Ferguson. That's really all they got. Yeah, Tolbert, fine, I guess. Did we really care? It's going to go through Ferguson and Lamb. It's going to be Lamb number 1, then a couple ticks, then Ferguson, then a couple ticks, and then it's going to be Tolbert, and then a couple ticks and nobody. And so that's kind of what it is. And yes, Cooper Rush is not Dak. Not that Dak was playing awesome this year, but Cooper Rush is not Dak. So I've said this before on the Fantasy Six-Pack Hour, the quality of targets isn't going to be there, but the targets will be there. And so you give me a tight end, who you're almost locked in my opinion, to 5-6 catches every week. I'll take it. I mean, if you could guarantee me Hunter Henry was going to get that every week, we'd probably be talking about him in that same boat. And he is kind of right there with him. But there's been, even with Drake May there, like Hunter Henry sort of he'll get 3 1 week, he'll get 6 the next, he'll get 4 the next. And it's like, I think Ferguson is going to get 5, 6, 7, if not 8 targets every game. So yeah, I just think they're going to have to pass a lot, especially in today's game against Philly. They're going to be playing catch up, I believe.
I also feel like Cooper, we've seen some bad backup quarterback play throughout the years and even this year at time. And Cooper Rush isn't a bad backup quarterback. He's going to be fine, I feel like. So yeah,
he was totally fine. Like, even I forget, Mike, was it you who put the tweet out there from, and I don't remember the source or who it was, so I apologize for not being able to give credit to it, but it was the stats of CeeDee Lamb a couple years ago when Cooper Rush played for a large chunk of that season. It wasn't like the massive ceiling that we saw and that we're used to with CeeDee Lamb, because some of the touchdowns weren't there, but he was still seeing a boatload of volume. And I just think that we're going to be able to rely on that still. And the yardage wasn't really like super down. He had a few 100-yard games in there. Now that's of course CeeDee Lamb, not Ferguson, but it just kind of goes to show you and back up your point, Dylan, that Cooper Rush isn't terrible. Like, he's actually not bad.
Yeah, no, for sure there, Joe. I like your rankings this week, going through it, man. I'm digging them. I'm on your side here, so that's good stuff.
Oh no, does that mean I have to change them?
Yeah, I think so. You might have to, man. Might be a good idea. But all right, man, before you hop out of here and we bring Alan on, why don't you let everyone know where they can follow you and where they can get your work at?
Yeah, of course. FantasySixPack.net is where you can find everything. The rankings are updated there all week long. I do submit them to Fantasy Pros, but usually pretty late in the process. So we got to jump over to Fantasy Six Pack, become an all access member. You can find me on the Discord, still on X, but kind of transitioning over to Blue Sky along with a whole lot of other people, it seems like. So I'm trying to get a little more active over there. But honestly, the easiest place to get me, and I'm always going to be active there, is in our Discord. So you can ask me questions in the free channels. Can't guarantee I'm going to get to them, but if you become an all access member, you absolutely will get your questions answered by me in the members only channels. So I recommend highly to go in there.
Like, everyone listening, why even look at other rankings when we have the top ranker in the industry?
There's some other. I'll say it. There are a lot of other good dudes. I even say this myself. Go look at other sources. Like, I'm going to be wrong. Like, they're going to be wrong. Like, go ahead, get a couple different opinions, then make your own. Don't rely on just me. And like I'll even go look at other people's rankings and be like, all right, here's what I got. And then I go look at somebody else's like, well, they think this. Do I really start? I'll do it too. Like, come on. I know I can, I'm doing pretty well, but I always say, go get other opinions. So I don't mind people going in other places, but I'm good. I'm good if you want to use ours too. I'm happy.
I wholeheartedly agree. You got to formulate your own opinion through other opinions.
It's your team. Like that's when that's what it comes down to. It's your team. So you have to be happy with the decision.
Just getting another opinion is just doing more research for your team. So it is what, that is the best advice I think you can give at that point. And then just trust your gut because, 9 times out of 10, your gut's right. But thank you, Joe.
All right.
We appreciate it as always. A sneak peek. Good luck into week 11, and hopefully you're still at number 1 by next week.
It's close, man. I looked at the actual, so you can look at the rankings, right? And then you can actually get like the raw score as like somebody who submits the rankings. I'm 2 points ahead of the next guy, and then like 4 points ahead of the next guy. It is super close this year. Like,
don't stumble.
Usually at this point in the season, usually Sean Kerner has like distanced themselves from whoever is second. It hasn't happened this season. And I think that just goes to show how wild this NFL season has been. So
it has been.
It's been fun, but I got to keep grinding. That's all I got to say. So good luck, guys, and enjoy and have fun doing the rest of the show.
Take care. Peace.
All right,
Thanks, just see ya.
All right, time for the best bets of the week, and we got none other than Alan. What's up, our inside man?
It's very strange. I'm in the parking lot, and I'm observing fans, so I'm confused. I don't know what you guys are talking about. I don't know what Joe's talking about. I'm the best source for anything, and if we lose, it's Eberflus's fault because that's usually how these things go.
I like it.
It's funny. It's funny, man. Like, I tell my 7 to 8 hosts all the time, like, dude, nobody should be apologizing for losses in this industry, man. It happens. It's the risk that you take because DFS is gambling, just like me placing wagers on spreads. It's all the same. The risk is the risk. Hell, we can't control half the stuff that happens, but we can always blame Eberflus. I know that for a fact. Somewhere along the lines, he's got something to do with this. There's a guy out here in Commanders, like decked out Commander stuff. He's got a chain and everything, but he's selling terrible towels, and that is why I'm confused. And there's another gentleman who bought a terrible towel from him, but he bought the pink terrible towel, which I'm like, we're out of October. We're out of the breast cancer stuff. Where did you find a pink terrible towel at, man? Like, why do you have this one pink terrible towel? Like, you're a Commanders fan, which means you had to either steal that or go to Pittsburgh to get it. Like, they're not handing those out here. That's why, again, I'm very confused, and I'm never doing this from the car again. I will be back in the press box. But we got in a little. Yeah, we got in a little. Well, there's a lot of fans, so we were a little late getting in, even though we were kind of on time. It's weird, but it's active. And we can start with this game: Steelers and Commanders. My heart tells me to take the points with the Steelers. I want to so keep backing the Commanders, man. But I think this is the ride that I get off on right here. Just this one stop. I'll probably be back next week on the short week, going against Philly. Depends on how things go today. Definitely be back for Dallas and probably the remainder of the schedule. But this spot right here, something does not sit right with me in this matchup. I think the Steelers, I think they've got what it takes to exploit the secondary of the Commanders. And they've got just enough on defense that Jaden Daniels won't be enough today, I don't think. And so it's almost disrespectful to have these dudes getting 2 points. But you have to overvalue the Washington Commanders because, well, the Washington Commanders have exceeded expectations every step of the way. And I told my video guy who just left, I was like, look, if they win today, crown them Super Bowl bound because this is a tough matchup. And I'm gonna take my points with the visiting Steelers. If you can get the Steelers money line, I think that's probably the best bang for your buck as well. And just buckle up for a good game. So I obviously can't actually bet the game because I'm here, and I really think they check that stuff, but I'm not 100% sure. So I didn't put any money on it, but I would if I could. And if I wasn't here, I definitely would be betting the Steelers. The Bills favored by 4. I like that line still. I like Buffalo. There's not a lot of like this week is an interesting week because you're laying points with a lot of road teams, right? Like there's a lot of road favorites, and I was even looking for home favorites to bet, and I landed on the Bears. And again, I'm not picking at you, Dylan, but hell no, I'm not laying close to a touchdown with the Bears. They got some other stuff going on up there, and they should blow out the Patriots. But again, like I'm not gonna do that. And so then I was basically subject to trying to figure out which road favorites do I like the most. I really think the Eagles laying 7.5 is a smidge too much. Yes, they should win like that. But one thing about getting a backup with experience like Cooper Rush is that they keep teams competitive. They don't win necessarily, but they're competitive enough to cover the spread. Like we're talking like you've got a it's a touchdown spread. Cooper Rush to Dak Prescott as it stands currently, I don't even know if it's probably maybe 3 points most. So you're saying if Dak was playing, this line would be Eagles 4.5? I don't think so. So um, I'm not betting that, but I'm just saying these are the options that I have. Like the Niners laying 6.5, coming to the East Coast to play the Bucks again. Not really the best spot. So the Bills having a quarterback who's making a case for MVP, depending on if Lamar Jackson, plays every single game or not. Josh Allen's having a good year. It's a good, solid team. I like them as a road favorite. 4 isn't asking a ton from a team that's playing as well as the Bills right now. Little sneaky play, I think, might be a little bit concerning is the Lions laying 3.5 against the Texans. I heard when my boy Nico Collins was back, definitely a game changer. Probably gonna be a little bit of an issue. I really think CJ Stroud needs this home game more than anybody else because he's had some rough like three weeks, I think, maybe even 4. But he has not looked good. He has not looked comfortable. Part of that is the fact that he doesn't have his main guy, Nico Collins. Like, yeah, Stephon's great, but Stephon isn't the dude to stretch the field. And Tank Dell can only get open so much without his guy Nico with them. I think Nico's the catalyst of this offense. Like, we talk about it with the 49ers. In order for us to stretch the field, we need Ayuk, right? But in order for the system to work, we need Debo. So I think Nico is that for the Texans. Like, yeah, Tank can get down the field. He can go vertical. That's fine. But you need Nico to get that offense in rhythm and sync and everybody to be comfortable. So getting him back, I think, is a little bit of a boost. 3.5 is a good number to take a home dog. Sunday night, it's prime time. If you think CJ Stroud is as good as I think he is, or you think he's a top 7 quarterback, you should anticipate some kind of a bounce back here. A shootout would be great, I think, for the Texans because they should be able to drive the ball on the Lions. I like D'Amico Ryans as a coach and a defensive coordinator and defensive minded coach to come up with a way to at least slow down the run game a little bit. And again, I have my theory that Kyle Shanahan shares a lot of information with the guys that used to coach for him when they play other teams. He definitely would love to see the Texans win this game because, again, the Niners are not completely out of the hunt for a top playoff spot. And we had a little run last year where it came down to basically a game anyway. So I would anticipate Ryans will have a good game plan, right? So I'm not going to throw a whole lot of time into it, but I consider that kind of a sharp situational play. Get Nico back. A lot of people are on the Lions. Lions have been rolling people. At some point, we should see some regression back to the mean, which says that the Lions in this spot, probably with a fully staffed Texans team, should be more 1.5, 2 than 3.5. Will Anderson not playing, that's gonna hurt. But I would anticipate they'll come up with something. Again, just banking on my defensive minded coach to get me through at least one game. where they can be competitive. And hell, we watched the Lions make up for Aiden Hutchinson being out for the last like 3 weeks. Like,
Yeah.
I'm hoping Will Anderson could do the same. I mean, D'Amico could do the same. Dolphins plus 2.5 is what I got it at. I think it's down to 1.5 now. This is a game I will tell you I might flip. It's all pending Tyreek Hill's status. So
Sure.
before the injury or issues with Tyreek Hill were announced, I got him at 2.5, and the line was trending like the Dolphins were going to be favored. And I'm sorry if y'all can hear that background music. I can't do anything about
Okay.
that. All right,
Yeah,
but once once the Hill injury got announced, it looked like it kind of settled between +1, +1.5. So if he doesn't play, which this is where you guys come in because DFS guys get the injury updates so much quicker than everybody else for some reason. But if he doesn't play Monday, I'm all in on the Rams. They're probably going to blow him out the water. But if he does play, again, I hate to overuse the term, but there can be no more of a bounce back spot for this Dolphins team than this particular game, because they gave a game away to the Cardinals, and I just think that's like they have to get it going. They have to get it going fast, especially with the fact that it's not talked about. Mike McDaniels might be on the hot seat though. He really might be on the hot seat. It's not fair because he hasn't had a healthy quarterback. But guess what? He's not with the most competent owner, so I don't think he cares either. If Bill Belichick's name is still out there, which it will be, some of these guys, these old guard owners, are going to just take a shot on him because he's stable and they know he can win a Super Bowl. How long it'll take, they don't know that, but it's the fact that he gives them a chance. And a guy like Mike McDaniels has had plenty of opportunity, but you can't shake the fact even when Tua's healthy, you don't beat teams with winning records, right? And if you have that behind you, like they're like 1-11 or something like that with teams with winning records, big picture, that's all you're going to play in the playoffs. So what the hell are you doing?
Yeah.
Why are you here? So I think there's a little bit of pressure on him. I expect him to play a little desperate. I always love the Kyle Shanahan tree matchups, like O'Connell versus McVay versus McDaniels. You get when Salah would play the Dolphins and things like that. You kind of see how it all works and how a lot of them come from the same like approach to the game. So I expect fireworks. I think the better, more explosive offense is the Dolphins, which we have not seen that crazy
Yep.
explosion from them just yet. So don't be surprised if this is the game, especially if they come in healthy. This is the game where we see like Devin and those guys just kill with big chunk plays. They look like a old school Big 12 team, right? So that's what I'm hoping for. And again, I'm gonna sit on the +2.5 just because I'm already locked in for that for my super contest. But it's nothing to hedge it or in my super contest just unpick it and pick the next side because the Rams ain't gonna go up more than a field goal over the spread. Even if Tyreek Hill doesn't play, we're talking about a 1 point difference here, right? Broncos +8. I don't know if anybody's paying attention. Chiefs just don't cover big spreads, man. They just win
Yeah,
games.
it's too big. Yep.
Yeah, I think they're bored, honestly. But I was telling my dad about it because talk to the preacher about gambling. But I was like, watch this be the game that Bo Nix throws 3 fucking picks, and then I don't know if I can say it, my bad, but he throws picks, and then I end up getting hurt. That's the only thing that hurts in these spreads like this. If people can play a clean game, it doesn't even have to be pretty. Just keep it clean. Don't turn the ball over, and you're gonna be within 8 points of the Chiefs just because Andy Reid will throttle down up a touchdown and run 6 minutes off in the fourth quarter and just take a knee. Like he's
Yeah.
known to do that. He doesn't try to cover it, right? But what ends up happening is that they'll kick. You'll get aggressive. You'll try to go down and score. You go for it on fourth down or something like that in your territory. You give them a short field. They get a stupid field goal, and you end up not covering because it was 10 instead of 8, right? Broncos defense is solid. I know everybody's like DeAndre Hopkins, man. You see what he did? It was great, and I'm sure that it'll keep going. But I really think one of the most underrated defenses in the league still for some reason, I guess because people don't know anybody that actually plays on that defense, but Surtain. But
Yeah.
it's a unit, man, and that's what you want in a defense. You got 11 guys, they're all working together, one goal. Nobody's overplaying, over pursuing, or doing anything extra. They're all playing their position. So I love watching them, and I think it'll be a little bit competitive game. I think Sean Payton can dial up some stuff, especially with a quarterback like Bo Nix, who you're not looking to stretch the field anyway. You can
Right.
dink and doink an overly aggressive defense. And Spags already showed you, even in the last game, he's just going to blitz. You can run as many screens as you want. He's still bringing pressure, right? Because that's what the Bucks offense was, primarily screens of different variations. And then occasionally you could slash them for about 6 or 7 on the ground. And you just hold on and hope for the best because you're not better than the Chiefs, right? I think that's similar to what the Broncos will do. Play defense, hold on, hope for the best. And those are my plays today. So, like I said, good luck to me. I don't know about that Eagles line just does not sit right with me, man. It just
Well,
doesn't.
Trust
man.
your gut. Trust your gut.
And the only issue is there's just not a lot of good. Like I like to do 2 favorites, 3 dogs on my 5 picks, and I'm like, there's not another road favorite out there that I'm super confident in. Like I know Christian McCaffrey's coming back. I'm a Niners fan. I'm already gonna be dejected and automatically think that we can have a letdown here. And then the Buccaneers, super aggressive and unpredictable. Like they will have a game where they're world beaters, and you're like, where was this last week? So I'm worried about that. But I'll figure something out. I didn't mention the Jets Cardinals, but if you want to fade Aaron Rodgers from now until he retires, go for it.
Yeah.
Go for it, man. They're dysfunctional. They really are. They're really dysfunctional. It's ugly football. So and Kyler Murray and these guys probably should not be they should not be home dogs against anybody at this point. They're a playoff contender. They're in the NFC West. They're leading the division. So again, logically, the question is, what the hell have the Jets done to be favored in this spot? And that's why people think the NFL's rigged. But it's you got to ask the question. Like, seriously, you have to ask the question. Like, did you not see them? And we've already seen the Jets in spots where they should bounce back. They have yet to bounce back. If anything, they hit the ground harder. So why are they favored in this spot? Makes no sense to me. And just because I just talked myself into it, I'm probably going Cardinals. Because I don't like it.
I like it.
But that's all I got, fellas.
Cool, Alan.
That's
Appreciate
awesome.
it, man.
Yeah, man.
As
You
always,
guys have a good one.
You as well. Have fun at the game, man.
All right. And yeah, you can catch me on 106.1. Honestly, it's probably best to just hit me up on Discord. My travel schedule is crazy. I got this game. I got college basketball Wednesday, maybe going to Philly on Thursday, and another college game on Saturday. Like, I'm not even gonna have time for a damn show. So just shoot me a text or hit me up on Discord, like just with a direct message. I answer those.
Love it.
And that's where you need to get it on the memberships, guys. If you want to do that, you can get direct access to Alan.
All right, take care,
Alan.
Thanks, Alan.
All right, guys. Now what you've all been waiting for to get your start sit questions answered. Welcome in, JJ. It's been a little while. You've been on vacation. How you been, man?
Man, it is good. Back in Oregon, it is not quite as warm and tropical as it was in Mexico, but I am coping and I am dealing. I've just been making myself some fruity drinks to sit here at home. I feel like I'm still on the beach a little bit, but
nice.
But all things considered, man, doing good. Glad to be back here.
Fruity drinks and just hoping for some sun.
Yeah, man. Malibu rum and punch, baby.
Oh, that's funny. That's funny. Well, we missed you, man. We needed a third person in here to, decide who's right and who's wrong because we know Dylan's wrong most of the time.
I've been on a heater this year, Mike. I got to give you credit. There's been a lot of ones where I'm like, I don't know, man. And then you're on a heater.
Yeah, but then, I give advice like the week where James Cook, was questionable that one Monday night. And I was telling everybody, I'm like, yeah, I think he's going to play anyways. I think he's going to play. And then he didn't play. So
was that in the last 2 weeks?
No, that was, I believe, week 5.
Oh, man,
it was because he was a Monday night game.
I already forgot about that.
Recency bias. But let's hop right into it. We had a question here before the show even started. Dollar Bill, if you're hanging around still, we appreciate you. but he's given us our first defensive question afterwards. He's got Tajay Spears or Jordan Mason PPR. I did get an update before we got into this that CMC is expected to have a full workload, at least 20 touches.
Oh,
I saw
okay.
on a tweet. I did not get a chance to share it to the Discord yet because we're doing the show. So I think I lean probably Spears in this one because I know he is fully active, and I expect a little bit more of a workload in Spears' direction than Mason.
Yeah, I think the Mason's window is pretty much closed now. He's back to just being like arguably the top 3 level handcuff in fantasy.
Yeah. No, the matchup sucks for Spears, but I think that's where I lean as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then he's got the Steelers defense or the 49ers defense. Blanking on the Steelers and who they play.
49ers here, right? Against a beat up Buccaneers team.
Man, Steelers play Commanders. That's who it is.
Yeah, Steelers got
Commanders.
Go Niners.
Yeah, you probably got more chance of turnovers against the Niners and sacks, where it seems a little bit more difficult to be sacking Jaden Daniels, and he's not turning the ball over very much like a rookie QB. But this could be the game, but play it safer with the 49ers.
Yeah, no, Baker is a gunslinger, man. He may throw for 350 and 3 touchdowns on you, but he also might give you 3 interceptions as well. It just kind of is who he is.
Who is more of Brett Favre reincarnate, Jordan Love or Baker Mayfield? I mean, Baker dressed like
really
him when he
tough.
was getting drafted.
100%. Baker doesn't have the other guy, doesn't have the other guy, Aaron Rodgers, on his shoulder to kind of talk him down a little bit. It's got to be Baker.
Just slinging it around.
I'm so happy for Baker, though, man. His career so far has been wild, from being the number 1 pick to almost being out of the league, and now the resurgence with the Bucs and him getting his money. It's good stuff because I don't know if he's a good dude, but he feels like a fun dude. So I'm all about it.
Yeah, that's a good way to describe it for sure.
It just kind of shows the nature versus nurture in the league for QBs. It feels like teams fail young QBs more than young QBs fail teams.
Honestly, I've never felt like it was more about the system than now from what we've seen. It's all about the system that you fall into, man.
I agree, and I honestly more than ever, I think just the right move, no matter who you draft, is if you can let him sit for a year or two. I think that's a good thing at the quarterback position. Obviously, if you have a Jaden Daniels level guy who's MVP conversation right away, that's different. Some guys are different, but for 90% of the rookies, I think sitting half a season to a season is honestly probably the best thing for their development at this point. The way that just
Drake,
5 years of quarterback classes have kind of panned out.
Everybody wants instant gratification, man. It hurts.
I get it, man. Once we get into rookie draft season, I'm the same way. In my mind, everyone I draft is this rookie's going to make an instant impact, but that's not how it works out once we get into the fall.
Mm-hmm. What were you going to say about May, Mike? I think I was just going with it.
He didn't even sit a full half a season, really. What was it, 5 games? And then Brissett got knocked out, and then. And then May came in and he's looked phenomenal. He scored that game-winning touchdown touchdown to take it into OT against Tennessee last week. Now they didn't win, but without May, they don't make it to OT in that game. So May's even benefited from sitting those couple of games as well.
Oh, 100%, yeah.
We got another one here. Sorry, we're not getting the Facebook usernames.
Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on with StreamYard this morning, but definitely being a little goofy. So we can't tell who's commenting on him from Facebook. Absolutely.
He's got basically what this boils down to is he needs to start 2 of these guys, and I'm going to name them off for you. You got Drake London, McConkey, Shakir, Sutton, Waddle, and Jamison Williams. He does have some other options in Alec Pierce, Noah Brown, and Ricky Pearsall, but I wouldn't be diving that deep with these options here available. I did, until another 17 minutes when we get more updates. London, to my knowledge, they said is expected to play.
Correct.
Okay. And if he is expected to play, until that changes, I'm starting London.
Yep.
All right. So he's a locked and loaded for me as long as he is starting. Now McConkey is interesting because he's been so dang efficient.
That's who I'm going
with his limited touches. But I will say it like this, Facebook user. If you played against Jamar Chase, Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson Thursday night and you're chasing points, throw Jameson Williams in the lineup. You chase the ceiling. Chase the ceiling. But if you're not chasing points, just go McConkey in London.
No, I'm actually going to go. I'm going to go London here. I'm going to go Shakir.
I knew it.
As well as my
Shakir.
second guy here with Amari Cooper being banged up.
The latest comment that came in from Facebook user, I think, is for this one. It says, "No, these other three are my guys. I need one from."
Oh, my bad. My bad.
I don't know if that's tied to the right one though here. So it just says Facebook user.
Yeah, it doesn't help.
You out my name, so I was like, oh, maybe.
It doesn't help when I don't know who's saying it because all the comments just blend together.
Yeah. No Keon Coleman already. No Amari Cooper. We don't know if Amari Cooper is going to play. He's banged up. I think Khalil Shakir is the most trusted pass catcher from Josh Allen. So I think that's where I could see close to 8 to 10 targets today. So I'm going to go Shakir in London. London, I'm a little worried about, to be honest with you. I think London could be a little bit more of a decoy this weekend with dealing with the hip pointer and dealing with that. Mm-hmm. But it's also a pretty good matchup against the Saints after they just traded Marshawn Lattimore. So I get 100% both sides of it. So it's really tough.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Shakir or McConkey, those are the two options that are the safest. I get it, with Coleman out, got Amari Cooper questionable. They all got
Amari Cooper was just ruled out.
He was ruled out.
All right. Yeah, he just got ruled out.
I got some work to do after we get out of here. I got him in like 5 leagues or 6 leagues, I think. So
I know I'm gonna have to take him out too. So I mean that does give a boost to Shakir, so I will change my answer because volume is king. London and Shakir on this one, Clayton. McConkey's efficient, but he won't see enough as much volume as Shakir.
I think that I go McConkey unless I need like a huge ceiling, and then I go Shakir. Honestly, I still think McConkey's got a safer like floor.
They have been throwing the ball more in Los Angeles, so I can't argue that. So he needs one out of these three: Alec Pierce, Noah Brown, Ricky Pearsall. Pittman's ruled out. It's not a great matchup, but volume is key. Give me Alec Pierce out of these three because he's gonna see the most volume.
And he's got the best chance to connect on one of those passes being a deep one down the field because of the role he plays.
Yeah. So, I hear you. I just don't know if Alec Pierce is ever going to get a ton of volume. That's the issue that I have with you saying volume.
He won't get none of these guys are getting a ton
that's
of
not
volume.
That's not his role. I kind of like Noah Brown here a little bit.
None of these guys are getting volume. They played Pittsburgh, the Steelers.
Yeah. McLaurin's going to get shadowed by Joey Porter. I don't hate the thought of Noah Brown here, if I'm being honest with you. So I think that's where I'm actually going to lean. I can't do Ricky Pearsall anymore with Juwan Jennings being healthy, CMC being back. So I think I automatically rule him out. But I think I give a slight lean to Noah Brown over Alec Pierce. That's just me.
Fair.
Wide receiver 49 the last 3 weeks, getting 13 targets. Alec Pierce. I spelled his name wrong. No, I can't even find Pierce on here. All right. So, I mean, Noah Brown technically has been better, but Pierce probably hasn't been playing. Yeah, because I can't find even Pierce.
I will help
That's not good. He's not even on the top 100 wide receivers the last 3 games, so that's not good.
0, 3, 2, and 7 in the last 4. Yeah, I just don't think he matches up super well with Joe Flacco.
I mean, I get it. It's just I feel like, with Pittman out, you're going to see an uptick in targets. How many? Maybe. That's, yet to be determined.
Adonai Mitchell.
I mean, you take away
he's better than Alec Pierce.
For sure.
He
will be.
He is. But you take away that Hail Mary touchdown for Noah Brown, and he's nothing the past 3 weeks. Nothing. Which is basically the same thing you're getting from Alec Pierce because he's boom or bust. He's going to get you a big touchdown on a big play, or he's been getting you nothing. But now Pittman's out. You have Adonai Mitchell in there, but Alec Pierce, probably 2 to 3 more targets, I'd like to imagine, for this game. So that's kind of like the only thing. Either way, these options suck.
Yeah, it's not for sure.
Do I chance Tyreek or start Sterling Shepard non-PPR? Nah, not non-PPR. I'm not chancing that with Sterling Shepard. If you had a better option, I would. But not with Sterling Shepard.
There's no scenario I'm going Sterling Shepard here over Tyreek.
I mean, what if you had and it's just me off the cuff, what if you had Darnell Mooney and you didn't want to chance Tyreek Hill?
I mean, that's a better option, but still, I'd rather just keep Tyreek in there. Like the best scenario I could see myself in, like, yeah, maybe I need the points. If like I started like a super flex league with like Lamar and Burrow, and then had like Jamar Chase all in on Thursday, and I'm like, yeah, just give me like the 8 to 10 points. Like I'll take this other guy, but otherwise, yeah, give me Tyreek.
I would really try to get some sort of insurance if Tyreek Hill doesn't play. Like if you could put Tyreek or Sterling in your flex, maybe Johnny Smith will probably be available. Yeah,
Demarcus Robinson.
Weird.
Demarcus Robinson. Demarcus
He's
Robinson.
Probably rostered, Mike. I think
he might be on your waiver wire.
He might be. Go ahead, check that out. I don't hate that
Cooper,
call either.
Kupp and Puka, healthy. Demarcus Robinson might be out on the waiver wire. He's playing Monday night as well. He could be a good insurance policy. Otherwise, you're looking at like Malik Washington.
And I don't love doing it. I don't love doing it, but if Sterling Shepard's your bottom of your roster
or ODB,
guy, you could probably yeah, I guess, man. But Odell, we've seen literally nothing.
So no, I know, but that's where I'm saying Demarcus Robinson's probably your best insurance policy.
I think, yeah, I'm with you. Like Jordan and I said, Jonnu Smith, I don't think is a terrible option either. There, just in case of you're in panic mode already.
He's getting more volume than I thought he would. Honestly, like he's really kind of like in a weird way, like kind of overtaken Waddle. It seems like in terms of like the pecking order, and I'm sure it's not really that way. It's just kind of played out like that with the defenses, but yeah, man, Johnny's been okay.
I feel like he should be their red zone threat as well, as long as they're not running the ball, because Waddle, Tyreek Hill, not big dudes here. So Jonnu Smith could be worth a dart, but I agree with Mike. Check for Demarcus Robinson first, and then I'd probably do Jonnu Smith. So, and then Odell
clip it.
Would be third.
Clip it. Dylan agrees with me. Bob Dole, thank you for joining us. Tyrone Tracy, rushing touchdown. Giants are on the board. Thank you for always joining us, Bob Dole. He's got he needs 2 wide receivers and a flex full point PPR. He's got Devontae Smith, Drake London, Darnell Mooney, Jordan Addison, George Pickens. Let's go with the 2 wide receivers first. Let's just make it easy. Devontae Smith, London, Mooney, Addison, and Pickens. This one's tough because you got London and Mooney, Bob Dole. Because, and I alluded to this on the Friday show, if you want to check that out, Bob, because you have the option of going Mooney over London in this case, with London, expected to play, but playing with that injury, I would feel much safer playing Mooney over London since you have that option, and I'm going Mooney and Devontae Smith.
I don't have a problem with that either, actually.
I'll probably go Smith, and I'll probably still go London here. If you're feeling uncomfortable with that, I'll actually go Addison here. I think
it's one of those. I get it, and we were talking about Tyreek Hill, but I think Tyreek Hill is going to play because it's a wrist injury. It's not a hip injury like Drake London. Where Drake London, if he's out there, he could get that decoy treatment. And that's what my biggest fear is with Drake London. But since you have the other option here on that, opposite side of the field in Mooney, that's the only reason I would go with that. If Mooney wasn't here, it's Smith and London locked down.
Yep.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. And then the flex is CMC, right? That if I'm reading that correctly.
Yeah. So the flex options you get additional.
Yeah.
100%. I think I start Barkley over CMC only because you have Barkley as an option.
You got a flex option, Mike. You got a flex option there.
Those 2 receivers, 2 running backs.
You jumped right ahead, so I didn't get a chance to read. I have Barkley and Henry in already. Okay.
Yeah, CMC is in the flex.
CMC the flex. Yeah, you're on running backs there for sure. Super deep league here. You guys like Xavier Gibson in a league with return yards or Tim Patrick? It's ugly.
Tim Patrick for me.
Even with
maybe Jama Doghouse still a little bit or something. And
I'd go Xavier Gibson
a little bit. Yeah, it's my auto sub in case Gabe Davis is out. But
with JMO back, they got Laporta. They're Tim Patrick's like the 6th option on that team right now, where Xavier Gibson could be the 4th option, 3rd option because they just got rid of Mike Williams.
Yeah, we'll go him.
I think I lean Xavier Gibson, and then Bob Dole's got Kincaid or Goddard.
No,
man, he's got no. He's got no ceiling, but I go Kincaid. He's got 10 targets.
Hey,
last week.
man, the
Gotta just
ceiling's
come up
higher
with-
now, and no Amari Cooper, no Keon Coleman. So the ceiling goes.
No,
the
no,
floor and the ceiling go up a little. Yeah, they do.
You're right about the floor. You're not right about the ceiling. The ceiling doesn't go up until we see the ceiling, and we have it.
Yeah.
But the floor
Yeah.
goes up for sure.
I'm still going with
Right,
Kincaid, but you're not wrong.
Yep, that one's definitely Kincaid.
He's got 6
dollar-
targets since week 4 in every game, man. It's kind of wild.
Solid.
It's kind of
floor.
what we
Just not
expected,
doing
right?
much with it.
It's just, it's no touchdown. He's got 2 touchdowns on the year.
Dollar, we did answer this one. We went Spears and the 49ers defense for you.
Yep. Definitely.
All right, another Facebook user. Good morning, man. We had a swell week. He needs a wide receiver 3. He's got Jalen Tolbert, Demarcus Robinson, or Parker Washington as well.
Those are like not horrible, like in a pinch wide receiver 3 options. Yeah.
If Prescott was still there, I'd be leaning Tolbert, but because he's not, it's Demarcus Robinson. Out of those 3,
Over
for the
Parker,
wide receiver 3.
Yeah.
I would do it over. But you got Mac Jones and Cooper Rush as your starting QBs for your 2 other wide receivers. You get Matthew Stafford for Demarcus Robinson. Plus, I mean, you can even make an argument that Demarcus Robinson is better with Cooper Kupp and Puka on the field.
He's just got to catch a touchdown to pay off, I feel. Or he could have 2 catches for 40 yards and not do anything else. That's the issue that I'm having. But with those options, I think that's where I have a slight lean is DeMarcus Robinson as well.
Yeah.
If Gabe Davis is out, maybe Parker Washington then. Because he'd be...
I think you go to Marcus Robinson. Mac Jones. I forgot to kind of factor that in. That's a good point.
Always factor in Mac Jones.
Yeah.
All right, and then he needs 2 flexes as well. He's got Rashad White, Cade Otton, Austin Eckler, Tajay Spears. I think Eckler's a lock with Brian Robinson ruled out.
And then for me, it's I think Cade Otton, man. Like he's been getting so much volume and like I don't change.
If it's between Rashad White and Cade Otton, I'm going Cade Otton.
Yeah, I am too.
All right. Need a tight end here from this Facebook user. Laporta or Jake Ferguson? Man. I don't like I was telling everybody. Like I love Laporta when JMO was out for the 2 weeks. And he was pretty decent. But now that JMO's back, I'm off on Laporta, and I even with Cooper Rush, I go Ferguson on this one.
Really? See, I think with it being Cooper Rush, that's why I go Laporta, because I think I think that Ferguson's solid, but I don't think that he's like a transcendent talent that I think like Laporta is. And so like when you're taking away like the quarterback that just loves to pepper his tight ends, like I think I'm just gonna bet on the talent at this point. And maybe if Ferguson comes out and has like another 6 for 75 and a touchdown week, at that point then like okay, you just keep him auto starting. But at this point, I'll go Laporta.
I'm with you.
Man, they're close. Last 3 weeks, they are tight end 22 and tight end 23. Difference is Ferguson has doubled his targets over Laporta, 22 to 11.
That's so long.
So I lean Ferguson just because it's safer. I know it's a new QB, but tight ends are a backup QB's best friend.
I wish I could start like the free Laporta chant, but like it's hard to say that from a guy on like a 7-1 team or 8-1 or whatever they are.
Right.
I think this is the same guy, but he asked, would you drop Tank Bigsby for Taysom Hill? I have Laporta, but he's not producing.
No, I would keep Tank.
Yeah, I keep Tank. You need the running back depth at this point.
I would just keep playing Laporta too, man. What's the worst that could happen? It's the tight end position. So.
And this is like the time of year too, where like there's going to be at least 1 or 2 more key starting running backs that are going to go down for the year. And like I think this is where you start picking up like the clear handcuff running backs and just stashing them because like you never know who could be a playoff winner for you. I can remember like a year picking up D'Angelo Williams, he's on waiver. They'll pick him up just because I had a roster spot. And then Le'Veon Bell goes down and D'Angelo Williams goes for like 20 points a game like the rest of the year. So yeah, keep Tank here. He's shown that he can produce if he gets
That's the reason, and here's just a little tip for everybody. If you're a playoff team and for some reason Trey Benson is out there on the waiver wire, we know James Conner is going to miss games here. He hasn't missed a game yet. He always does. Go get Trey Benson, if you're a playoff team and you got the extra roster spot because it's coming. It's eventually going to happen here. And you don't want to waste your, waiver priority. And, when you could have just added him right now before the game's even started.
Get him for free, yep.
All right. Dylan, thanks for joining us like always, man. He's got full point PPR. Different leagues, though. He needs to start one running back between Cam Akers and Chris Rodriguez. Man, Cam Akers against the Jaguars, Chris Rodriguez against the Steelers.
So like,
I think Rodriguez gets more.
Admittedly, go ahead. Sorry, I was in Cancun, so Cam Akers and
Minnesota,
Chris Rodriguez stat lines were not something that I had just in the back of my knowledge. So I'm just pulling up what they did last week. Let's go Cam Akers. That you just saw my whole research process there for that one, but yeah, we'll go Cam Akers.
Man, it's rough between. I actually.
He is the RB2 in Minnesota now, man. So I think that's where I lean as well.
He's the
Rodriguez
RB2
has still got a. Yeah, I want to say the touches swapped last week, didn't they?
Yeah, he had like 6.
In the I'm looking at it. Last 3 weeks, he has 6 rushing attempts.
No, but what was the last week? Last week.
Just
look at last week. Yes, I want to say he hopped Ty Chandler in the snaps and stuff.
Yeah, so he literally got all of his touches in the last 3 weeks in last week's game.
Yeah. That's why Rodriguez, man, he's still got to deal with Eckler. He's got to deal with McNichols as well.
That's
it's a better matchup. I mean, I guess I'll go Akers, but it's tough either way. It is a better matchup.
He is right. It is an ugly question either way here. Like, you don't feel good about this one.
And then this one's a tough one too. He's got Baker or Kyler.
I think you go Kyler while Baker's weapons are out. That's kind of where I lean. The rushing floor, the rushing upside.
I agree. I mean, Kyler had a rough week last week. I get it. Bears are really tough against the QBs. Jets are not as tough against the QBs. It is a tough matchup, but not as tough as last week, where Kyler offers you more on the ground than Baker at the moment. Baker had not his worst week of the week last week, but it was second worst. And his matchup isn't, much better either. So I think I lean Kyler.
Yeah.
Dylan, you as well?
No.
I'm
gonna go Baker, man. I'm gonna use JJ's term here. I think I'm gonna keep going off the vibes, and it's all pointing in a good direction. The vibes that Kyler haven't been trending that way, and you kind of alluded to it. I don't like the matchup for Kyler against the Jets, if I'm being honest with you. I think that game script's gonna go more towards the James Conner week, similar to what it did for the Bears. I think that's how you beat the Jets, is from the ground. Maybe Kyler does that with his legs, but I'm gonna lean Baker here still.
All right, got some updates here. Drake London is officially active. Brian Thomas Jr. and Gabe Davis active. Deebo Samuel active.
Jamal Williams is inactive. Come on, Kendre Miller maybe.
He's on IR.
IR, bro. I feel like my dream with Kendre is about dead, man.
You didn't hear the story about.
You didn't hear the story. Made a good point. Like Dennis Allen, like, yeah, you're right, dude. This guy can't stay healthy. Like, this is tragic.
Well, apparently there was a story that said like Kendre Miller was dealing with just a minor tweak of the hamstring injury.
And on Dennis Allen's way out, he just decided to take.
He said, "Put him on IR."
Kendre Miller and put him on.
Yes, because he's out for at least 4 games. He's out for at least 4 games.
Yeah. What a butt.
We got one more question here. He's got 1 flex and 1 tight end he needs here. He's got Pearsall, Odunze, Fergie, and Hunter Henry.
Give me the tight end. I'll go Hunter Henry. Ooh, Jordan's gonna go Fergie. I'm gonna go Henry.
I'm going Fergie.
And we're all going.
I'm gonna go. I'll go Odunze. Yeah.
Has he kind of overtaken DJ Moore in the pecking order? Like
Keenan Allen for sure. I've watched every snap of Chicago Bears football this year, and Keenan Allen either A, doesn't care, or B, it's no longer good because he can't separate any longer.
That was his thing. I mean, was separation and route running. So if he's lost a step, it's possible.
And I think he's definitely hopped him. DJ Moore, the stuff with DJ, man, is weird. It's Shane Waldron effect over here.
Wide receiver 1, man. Like, is he jumped them at this point?
Yeah.
I wouldn't say Moore, but I would say Keenan Allen. I mean, we're getting to the point in the year where rookie wide receivers start to blossom a little bit more here. So I'd take Odunze over Keenan Allen in the pecking order, but I won't say over DJ Moore. DJ Moore is just going through a rough patch with Caleb Williams.
I hope
happens.
so,
And it seems
man.
like-
But like
it seems
he's
like
played
he
with
hates
so
the
much
Bears right
worse
now, too.
quarterbacks. He's played with so much worse quarterbacks and put up big numbers. Like it doesn't really make sense. Like
Well, I don't think he's mad at the QB. Let's be real. I think he's mad at Shane Waldron.
Which,
I
like-
think everybody is mad at Shane Waldron or Eberflus.
mhm.
Jamie, he's got one here for us. Cortland Sutton or Odunze. This one's a little easier. This one's Sutton. Just more volume. It is
All right,
I mean,
Sutton
you.
here.
I
Yeah.
get it. He does the QB.
You never feel good. Never feel
he
good
does the
about it,
QB
but it's
match.
Sutton.
It's Trent McDuffie probably lining up against Cortland Sutton, but I still got to trust that, they're not going to be pushing it down the field. They're going to be getting him some short intermediate routes, Cortland Sutton. So give me Sutton over Odunze.
I'll reluctantly go Sutton, but I think this one's pretty close actually.
All right, JJ, here's what we've been missing out the past couple weeks. IDP knowledge. Zach Allen, Cam Hayward, Micah Parson. Also, do I look for another kicker? He has off.
Parsons playing?
Yeah, it sounds like Mike, as far as I know, when I went to bed last night, it sounded like he was trending towards playing. So as long as he's healthy, you put him in. He's like one of the Kyle Hamilton types where like you just put him in whenever they're healthy because they could have a 30-point week for IDP. And then hell no, man. Aubrey's like the only consistent weapon on the Dallas offense right now. Like as long as we can move the ball a little bit, like he's gonna just put up field goals all
Dude,
day
if you
long.
can get it
Just
over
like the
midfield,
50-yard
just
line,
get it
like-
over midfield. Yeah,
exactly.
just get it over
Just
midfield.
20, 30 yards each drive, and he'll boot that bitch in from like 60 yards.
We touched on it at the top of the show. Cooper Rush isn't a bad backup quarterback.
No, he showed
He's
he can
fine.
move the ball, and like
Yes.
CD's healthy, like or at least healthy enough. He's off the injury report. Everybody else is still there. It's just a shitty roster. But like, yes, Cooper Rush should be able to move the ball with CD.
Agreed. At least we're not getting Trey Lance, guys. I think we can agree.
Oh,
on that.
okay. Hear me out.
Okay. No,
Let's
I'm
just-
not going to do
let's
it.
just-
Okay, hear me out.
Let's see what we have in him. Like this season's done. Like let's just do like the Tim Duncan tank year. Let's just drop down for a year. Let's get a high draft pick, come back strong next year. But let's see what Trey Lance has. Like what
If
do we
you're
have to lose at this point? Like we're not going to win the division. Like if we're not going to get a wild card spot. Like let's just see if there's anything there. Like we'll know after 2-3 games. Okay, now like, go back to Cooper Rush. Let him just manage the season.
You're
I don't
trying to
know.
kill the
I
CD
don't
Lamb
know.
fantasy owners, huh?
I mean, that would hurt me more than anybody probably, but like from the Cowboys perspective, like, yeah, let's see what we got, man. Like we need something exciting there. Like this is like the least excited I've ever been for a Cowboys Eagles game in like 5-6 years.
Yeah, it's been bad.
Mhm.
Man, that
I mean,
Bryce Young
if-
kind of looks like a quarterback now. Sorry,
Is
to cut
he,
you off
is he
there,
looking
Mike,
pretty
but
good today?
yeah, my feed's delayed, but Carolina's about to score again. They had a touchdown taken off the board, but from what I've seen, Young's put the ball in some pretty good tight windows today. Made some pretty solid throws.
Get my
and
boy
his
Taven
benching
Sanders
helped
another
him.
touchdown here.
Nah, it wasn't. It was your boy Chuba.
I am. I'll take
Wow.
that.
Big week from Chuba, man, getting
But, man,
millions upon
hot
millions
take.
of dollars.
Hot
And
take. Next year, I think Chuba and Jonathan Brooks are like a Monty Gibbs style, like top 5 backfield next
Mike
year.
LaPlant and I had that conversation in his driveway this morning, actually, because we were
Yeah.
talking how weird it was that everything is going. And that's what I said. I'm like, maybe their hope is that they're going to build this team around a
I
I don't
1-2
even,
running
I
back
don't even
punch
think that
like
was their hope. I think that just Chuba ended up
It
being
just is what it is
so
now.
much better than what they thought. Like it just kind of like a blessing where it's like, all right, well now we got 2 good running backs. Like, yeah, I think it just kind of played out like that. I think
Yeah,
they
Big
fully
Day-
expected to let Chuba walk after this year when they drafted Brooks, and then like you just can't after that.
19 attempts, 138 rushing yards, 7.3 yards
Well,
per
and
carry,
his
and a
contract
touchdown from
too, his
Chuba.
contract is kind of dressed up like how Monty's is too, where like it's like a 4-year extension, but like there's an out after 2026 for free. So like it's a 2-year deal. So I think that they're gonna let Chuba like really split carries the next 2 years, and then at that point they'll figure out Brooks or drafting the next guy.
All right. So, guys, I don't see any more live questions. Make sure if you have any more start set questions, get them in. We'll answer yours first. Otherwise, we got some here in the tank. I got them loaded up, Dylan. Don't worry. Would you guys start Kyler Murray or Bo Nix this week?
Kyler still, but that's crazy. That's a question.
Yeah, I'm going to go Kyler, too, with both taking on Kansas City's elite defense.
Mm-hmm.
Guys,
Me
if
as
you're in
well.
here, please hop in, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already,
Yeah.
too. We really appreciate that.
All right. And then I got another one here. Brian Thomas Jr., now that he's officially active, for Josh Downs without Michael
Down.
Pittman.
Give me Downs, man.
Yeah,
you
with
had
Mac
Downs.
Jones in, that's tough. But yeah, I'll go Downs. I'm trying to
I
find
wish
a way
I
to
had
start
Downs
Downs
myself.
too, though.
Yeah.
Sean, if you're out there, trade me Josh Downs.
Doesn't
All
happen.
right. I know he doesn't want to. Next one we got here. He's got to sit one of these 3 wide receivers. Jalen Waddle, Cortland Sutton, or Jawan Jennings.
Sitting one.
It's Juwan.
Sit one.
Yeah, sit Jennings.
I actually sit Waddle in that one. I do not trust Waddle at all, guys. I don't.
I don't trust
Don't.
either.
Tyreek Hill's questionable too, man. So it's you're
Yeah.
not sitting Waddle for me.
Yeah, if ever there was a
I
week,
don't trust Waddle.
yeah, it'd be this one.
You're right. If there ever was, but I mean, the Niners are playing the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and they did just allow Patrick Mahomes to go off on them.
Dynasty question for you guys. I was kind of just talking with this with a buddy. For straight up dynasty, do you want Waddle or Josh Downs?
For Dynasty, I
Just
still
straight
lean Waddle for Dynasty because of the QB situation. We don't know the QB situation for Downs.
Almost. Yeah, I don't know. I thought
It's close though. I can understand, but the thing is Joe Flacco is not the future, and Anthony Richardson hasn't really shown much of him being the future, at least yet. Where at least we know Tua's locked in there. I just feel safer with Tua and Waddle as far as like if you're doing like a dynasty draft right now, I think I would still lean Waddle just slightly, even though I do love Downs. Because you still got Pittman there too. Pittman just re-signed a contract.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. I almost am to the point where I think I'm kind of leaning the Downs.
But if we're talking redraft though, the rest of the year it's Downs.
Oh, for sure, redraft. Yeah.
All right, so we can't do that one because Tyrone Tracy is already playing. Standard scoring.
Here we got rum or vodka.
Rum or vodka.
From Facebook usually.
I prefer rum. That's Clayton. He says.
Yeah, like I don't really do hard liquor, but like yeah, you can make some delicious Malibu rum drinks. So I'll go that direction.
I like Captain and Cokes myself. That's my go-to.
Yeah,
so
I go Crown and Coke if I'm gonna go like kind of in that direction.
Dylan likes Bush.
Yeah. I'd probably go Tito's and lemonade, man. If I'm being honest.
Some vodka it is. Standard scoring: flex Jalen Waddle or J.K. Dobbins.
Dobbins for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, Dobbins.
It's not a great matchup, man. Gus Edwards coming back a little bit, but yeah, I mean,
that matters really.
Yeah, agreed.
All right, and then start. We can't do that one. Dang it. Start 2: AJ Brown, CeeDee Lamb, Darnell Mooney, or Brian Thomas Jr.
They start 2.
Start 2
AJ
out of those 4.
CD.
Yeah, AJ and CD pretty easily. Don't get cute here.
Man. Yeah, I mean, I almost want to get cute and go Mooney, but that was with Drake London.
Over who?
I say Mooney was my last of those 4. Honestly, I'd go Brian Thomas over Mooney.
If London was out, because if London's out, man, Mooney's gonna see like 10+ targets. Ooh, Kyler Murray or Aaron Rodgers?
I'll go. Let's see who the Jets have. They
play each other.
Game, yeah.
It's supposed to be a good matchup against the Cardinals.
I think I'd go Kyler just because of the rushing, but like I think if I needed like a safe like 18 points, like I can kind of see going Rodgers on that one.
Dion, if I where'd you go, Mike? Oh, what am I pulling up the wrong thing? No, I did. If I said weak defense, I didn't mean to. I meant elite defense when we were talking about that.
He don't know how to speak sometimes.
Yeah, that happens, man.
He's bad at enunciation, Dion. Sorry.
I was definitely a stumbling idiot today going through the rankings with Joe. It wasn't my best performance, but we do get another question here, Mike. Should I drop Warren or Mason to bring on CMC from the IR spot?
Knowing that you have CMC is the crucial information here because you got to keep Mason. If you didn't have CMC, like let's say you're bringing back like Nico Collins from the IR spot instead, I'd probably drop Mason because you don't need that handcuff. I would rather have Warren, I think, at that point. But because you have CMC, you need to keep Mason, and I would drop Warren.
Yeah, I would feel the same way there. Yeah.
Yep, 3 for 3.
You are literally handcuffed to having to keep Mason, so I would drop Warren.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and is this 2 or start 1? Please let us know. But he's got Drake London, McLaurin, or Cup.
Scary Terry, baby.
Ooh, I'm gonna go Cooper Kupp here.
I would go Cooper
Against
Kupp
Miami
as well.
In a high scoring game.
Yeah.
I don't know, JJ. McLaurin, he rubs me the wrong way, but he produces, man. I don't know. Like last week, he had 2 catches for 15 yards, but it's 2 catches for touchdowns. So it's like I'm just worried about the volume he's getting.
I just, man, like
Junior
there's
as
just
well,
like going off just like the vibes, like we said, man. Like there's just something with this Commanders team, man. Like and you watch them, it's just like they feel like they're gonna like just win. Like no matter what they need, like they're gonna make that drive. They're gonna make that play. The one time it was like, oh, they got him. They connect on a freaking Hail Mary. I don't know, man. Just there's something going on with this Commanders team. There's something special brewing there.
I still have PTSD from that Hail Mary, man.
That was a rough one, man.
I ruined the Bears.
You chose Noah Brown.
Instead.
I feel the same way, man. I'm watching Dan Quinn, Noah Brown, and the Cowboys like leftovers at left, man. Like just have another career year under there. It's like, man, we let another coach get away. It's, Dan Quinn, Sean Payton. I think Kellen Moore is going to end up being pretty solid still down the road. And then here we are with freaking McCarthy. It's just, I hate it.
At least you're not the Bears.
He's got to go, man. I don't know what else he has to do to get fired.
At least you're not the Bears, though, and you could have had Ben Johnson, but your organizational dysfunction.
I'd rather be the Bears. Man. They got Caleb.
That door's not closed yet, Mike. Why is that door shut? It's not.
Because Ben Johnson has publicly come out and said that the reason he didn't go to the Bears is because of the disorganization amongst the organization.
I didn't hear him say that, but let's see if that's still the case when the Bears go to throw a bag at him this offseason, because money talks here, so we'll see about that.
Money does talk. I give you that one. Here's the tough one: McLaurin or Downs? PPR.
I went Downs. I think that's where you go.
I'll go McLaurin. I think McLaurin's gonna have a pretty solid week here. Tough defense, but I think
it is a tough defense. Yeah, it is a tough defense. I lean Downs with Pittman out. If Pittman was in, I'd lean McLaurin, but with Pittman out, it's just more volume for Downs. It can be Downs.
Jordan, did you answer this for Dan?
Yeah, as long as he plays, I'll go Micah.
All right, right on.
All right, and then Deebo Samuel, now that he's officially active, or Devontae Smith? Full point PPR.
I'll go Deebo against Tampa Bay.
I would go Deebo against Tampa Bay as well. DeAndre Hopkins just had a top 20 performance.
Yeah, man. He looked good. That was like one of the things I wish we could have seen this when like D-Hop was like 27, 28 instead of 32 or whatever he is now.
Yeah, so give me the 27-year-old Deebo, who should be healthy against that defense. Oh, pick 2. We got Nico Collins, Ladd McConkey, or Josh Downs.
Nico and Downs.
Yeah, Ladd's the same there, unfortunately.
I saw a tweet, man. I can't remember. I think it was Jeff Mueller on Twitter, if I'm giving the credit correctly, where, man, if the Houstons pull the ultimate flex, activating Nico Collins one day off of his 21-day window, putting him questionable, and then probably don't even play him just to game plan, against the Lions, thinking that they have to play against Nico Collins this week. That'd be such a strategic move for them to do, and I'm afraid of that. So since you have 2 great options here in Ladd McConkey and Downs, I think I go Ladd and Downs. I'm afraid because
I'm okay with that. That makes sense.
It's 11:30 EST time AM, and we still don't have an update, on Nico Collins. And I know he's, not playing to the Sunday night game, but it just gives me uncertainty here.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
I can understand that too.
And we got to clarify one here. Who do we say on McConkey, London, Shakir, Sutton, Waddle, Williams? I didn't hear an answer. If
that
just
was
one?
We needed 2. That was the one where we needed to pick 2.
Y'all said McConkey and London, right?
I went
Yeah,
London and
me and-
Jakir. You two went McConkey in London.
Yes. That's what we did on that one. All right, and then pick one for the flex: Rico Dowdle, Travis Etienne, Brian Thomas Jr., or Evan Ingram. PPR.
I'll go
Say those
Brian
again,
Thomas
man.
there,
You
but
lost me.
don't feel great about it.
Rico Dowdle, Etienne, Brian Thomas Jr., or Evan Ingram.
This guy's a
flex.
Yeah.
Jaguars fan, if I had to guess.
Yeah, it's Brian Thomas for me.
Yep, that's Brian Thomas. All right. Pick one: Brian Thomas Jr., Ridley, or Xavier Worthy.
Brian Thomas, so.
Yep.
Yeah, Brian Thomas. Start 2: Darnell Mooney, Josh Downs, George Pickens.
Pickens and
I'll go. Okay. Yeah, I actually said on this one it's very close between Pickens and Downs. Mooney's an automatic start for me, but I think I go Downs with Pittman ruled out. So Mooney and Downs.
Yeah.
Go
ahead.
Mahomes or Stafford? Mahomes
Stafford for me.
versus.
Really, you're going Stafford here. I think I still go Mahomes in this one, but I guess I can see why. It's a tough matchup with Denver.
Yeah, that's why
I
I
would-
don't like that a whole lot. I hoping I think Stafford's gonna have a big week against Miami with all his weapons back, as long as Puka's not throwing the softest punch ever at somebody again and
Yeah.
gets the boot.
It was such a good matchup for Mahomes last week, and it's been over a year. Week 7 of last year was the last time he was a top 5 QB.
Oh,
I'm
now
going
it's
Stafford.
top 5. Now it's top 5. Now that the
No,
now
week
that it's
7 was
changed.
top. No, week 7 was top 5. Week 12 was just a top 10
Okay.
finish.
Yeah, you can't say top 12 now, huh? Because he had a good week last week.
Well, he
So
had a top 12 finish.
You
2
gotta
weeks ago.
you gotta change the narrative a little bit. I see you moving the
No,
goalpost. It's fine.
It was week 12 for a top 12 finish, and he did that 2 weeks ago. And now he finally had a top 5 finish since week 7 of last year.
Yeah. That was awesome. He was on my bench in a lot of leagues. So that's cool.
I'm not moving the goalpost. He is. I lean Stafford in that one. Evan Ingram or TJ Hawkinson?
Ingram until I see like a big week from Hawk, I think.
So cool with that. Yeah.
Hawk's got a good matchup this week, but I lean Ingram just because he's safer. Like JJ says, I got to see it first. And then Jordan Addison or Juwan Jennings?
Addison.
I lean Jennings. I like
Why?
Jennings with Brock Purdy. They got a good matchup. Tampa Bay, man.
I think
Tampa
they can
Bay.
run the ball a lot on him. Getting an early lead.
It's a lot harder to run the ball on Tampa Bay than it is to throw, but I can see it also happening.
Yeah. They're kind of in the middle. I'm looking. Yeah.
This is a good one. Has to do with the Tampa Bay matchup. Brock Purdy or Jaden Daniels?
Jaden Daniels, for sure.
Yeah, I'm still gonna lean that.
Yeah.
I would go Purdy in that one.
Purdy's
I love
safe.
Daniels just as much.
Pretty safer.
He is safer. Dylan was saying this earlier in the year, and he was bringing it up, and it hasn't really happened yet. But Daniels is going to hit a rookie wall eventually.
I don't think he is.
This
man.
is, I think, man. If it is, this is the defense where it happens. Mike Tomlin loves playing rookie QBs. TJ Watt
he might have
loves playing rookie QBs.
He might have a bad week at some point, but I don't know. I don't.
I mean,
think a wall. I think
he had a bad week. He had a bad week against the Bears. The Hail Mary saved him, man. He had like 150 yards passing or something. So I mean, he can throw in a clunker here, but I think you're still.
And I'd say the Steelers' defense is tougher than the Bears. I mean, arguably,
maybe.
So that's where it's like you have a solid option in a great matchup like Brock Purdy. I would do that one. I would do that one over Daniels.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably like the safer bet for a top 12 finish if you go Purdy. Like I think the floor is a lot higher, but I don't know, man. This is Jaden Daniels. He has that dual ability. I have a.
I know it's hard to be that guy. It's hard to be that guy that makes that decision. Like when I was doing it earlier in the year when Hurts was struggling, I started Daniels over Jalen Hurts before, and I was like, man, I can't believe I'm doing this, but I'm gonna do it.
Yeah, worked out for the most part.
Pick 2. You got Cooper Kupp, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Tank Dell, or Drake London.
First 2.
Man, with London active, nah, it's still Cup and St. Brown, but London active, that definitely changes things, but just got that scare of the decoy action. Okay, yeah, I'd lean that Cup and ARSB. Pickens or McLaurin in the same game?
It's tough. Coin flip. Take it to the coin.
Scary Terry.
I actually lean Pickens. I lean Pickens in that one.
This one's close.
I like them. I like the matchup a lot more for Pickens. They're not going to have Marshawn Lattimore out there for the Commanders yet, so it's still the same secondary. Give me Pickens. This one's a little easier though. Cup or Pickens?
Cup.
Yeah.
Clean sweep on Cup.
Yeah.
Kyler Murray or Jane Daniels?
Jane Daniels.
Yeah. Jets defense is tough. Yeah.
I'm trying to think about this because it's like, man, if I can start Brock Purdy over Jane Daniels, and I'm going to start Jane Daniels over Kyler Murray, would I start Brock Purdy over Kyler Murray?
I would.
I think I would.
Yeah, I would.
Okay, so Daniels over Murray. Well,
yeah, Daniels is kind of a souped up version of Kyler Murray, man. That's kind of the way that I look at it, and they both have tough
souped up, man. I think Kyler Murray's faster, like just more elusive. Like Jane Daniels is skinny.
Kyler, yeah, he's probably the best.
Kyler Murray's like a toddler running around. He's like 5'10". He's so squirmy.
Toddler.
Yeah, he is fast for a toddler. Brian Thomas Jr. or Cade Otton in the flex?
What was it?
Brian Thomas Jr. or Cade Otton in the flex?
I think if there's like any type of tight end premium, like even just a half point, I think
it's just PPR.
But if it's just PPR, I'll go Brian Thomas still.
I'm gonna go Otton, man. Why not?
It's close, man.
I'm gonna go Otton too because I think this is his last week of dominance. Once Mike Evans comes back, he's still gonna be relevant. He's not gonna be irrelevant, but he's not gonna be dominating top 5 tight end like he is. So give me Otton for one more week.
Yeah.
Start Tank Dell now or wait Monday to see if Tyreek Hill plays?
Ooh, that's a good one.
Hopefully, with that game not being until Sunday night, hopefully you've heard about Tyreek Hill. Or
I lean Tyreek on that one, and hopefully we have more clarity by the time we hit Sunday night. But yeah, that's a tough one.
All right, man. I could be wrong. I'm not a doctor. I'm always going to give that disclaimer, but I don't think Tyreek Hill's injury is that dire.
I hope not.
It being a wrist injury. I mean, he can catch the ball one-handed, even if it comes down to it.
This dude couldn't get stopped by like the Florida State police. I have a hard time believing a little banged up wrist is going to keep him out, man. Like, I don't know.
True. Evan Ingram or Kyle Pitts at tight end this week?
I'll go Kyle Pitts there, but good option either way. I feel like both of them probably have like 8 to 10 points.
Dylan was right. Pitts finally had his collapsing week last week. Are you happy? Are you happy that you destroyed everybody's lineups?
Yeah.
You manifested it.
I don't have him anymore. So yeah.
Lions defense or the 49ers defense?
It's
Lions
never
versus
the Lions.
Texans.
I don't.
Who's the Lions?
The Texans.
Lions versus Texans. 49ers versus Tampa.
Oh, 49ers. 49ers. Yeah.
Yeah, with Aiden Hutchinson not being there for the Lions any longer, I think that's where I lean.
Dallas Goedert or Taysom Hill? PPR.
Gross. I guess Dallas Goedert.
Taysom Hill.
That's gross.
I'd go Taysom Hill.
I don't like either, but that's fine.
The way Taysom Hill is going to get utilized, like and we got a coach firing, so like every new coach, I feel like.
I'm telling you, man, every time a coach gets fired, they win that next week before like it kind of craters.
Most of the time, the Jets didn't. The Jets didn't this year, but most of the time they do.
Yeah, the Jets are different though, man.
They are different.
We got a last second question that just came in here.
All right, what's up? On Attain Music. Yeah, Jamar Chase, Mark Andrews, and Chase Brown on Thursday. My question is, should I start or sit the rest of my team? It's half PPR. I'm gonna
put your foot on the throat and push down, man. Start
absolutely.
Score.
You
Destroy them.
Exactly.
you can't tell the future, and it may come down to a tiebreaker between points between
I say
you and
that was
somebody
what I
else.
would say. Down the road, it could come down to something like that.
And
Yeah,
you want to get as many points on the board as possible. All right. So Stroud or Goff?
Goff, man. I don't know how you sit him at this point. Like Stroud, obviously in Dynasty is still the play, but I think this is kind of like the sophomore slump that, used to be a normal thing. People expected out a lot of like young quarterbacks. I think we're just kind of seeing that happen a little bit. And Goff is just, man, he's in his zone. He's in his element. He's playing the best football I've ever seen him play just over this last 4 or 5 weeks, man. He's locked in. He's dialed.
I lean Goff as well. Stroud's interested with Nico back, but their offensive line's also been so bad. Stroud's been running around everywhere. I'm just going to go with the safe, reliable Jared Goff in this one, and let Stroud show me he can do it once again like we saw.
Speaking of Goff, did you see the trade I made in our Dynasty League this morning?
I did not.
Yeah, in the half empire, I swung a trade since I lost Dak. I flipped him and him and Pacheco in a third and got Goff back.
Right on. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, I just traded Michael Pittman and Justin Fields for Montgomery in one of my other leagues this morning.
I like that. That's not bad.
Man, I'm gonna. This is how I lean. Since it's a Sunday night game, and we'll get the information before you have to play either of these guys. If Nico plays, I'm leaning Stroud. Stroud is a completely different quarterback with Nico on the field. Yes, they're down Diggs, but Tank Dell and Nico Collins is what Stroud had last year. And he's got Joe Mixon this year. So if Nico Collins plays, it's Stroud. If he doesn't, it's Goff.
The problem is, why has their offensive line gone from one of the best last year to one of the worst this year? It feels like, man. That's what I don't understand. That's the difference for me, if I'm being honest with you.
I get it.
Kick us out of here, Mike.
I just when you got the number one wide receiver in the league that goes down with an injury, you're going to take a hit in CJ Stroud. It's going to happen.
Yeah.
But thank you guys, as always, asking all your start sit questions. We love it. This is, our all three of us, this is our favorite time of the week, answering your guys' questions.
Yep.
But before we get out of here, Dylan, JJ, appreciate both of you. JJ, let us know what you're doing and where everybody can find it.
Yeah, follow me on Twitter at Dino NFL right here, and then like and subscribe to this channel. And between those two avenues, you will see everything I do. And then last second, Jamie looks like just had a question, and I
saw that.
So Mahomes and Caleb, and then I'm out.
Go Mahomes and Baker, I think.
I'd go Mahomes and Baker in this one. Go Mahomes and Baker.
I love you, Caleb.
Dylan, what you got going on, and where can they find it?
Yeah, guys, just check me out here on the YouTube channel Fridays and then Sundays, and then also doing the NBA DFS cheat sheet, and that's been going pretty well. So make sure to check that out, guys. But all right, I'm out of here. See you guys next week.
Appreciate you guys. Take care. Have a good one. All right. Now, guys, if you're still sticking around, we really appreciate it. It's time to make some money. Help me welcome in Keith Flemming and Detroit BC Chris Robbin himself. They're going to help you make some money. Chris, you're muted, just so you know. I didn't know if you knew that or not.
I'm a effing pro. You think I don't know if when I'm muted or not? Come on. And also not wearing an undershirt with a jersey, that's nuts. That's diabolical. But hey, that's just me.
He just wants to show off his Tom Selleck chest hair, if we're being honest. But
it makes me feel manly with my bald head. I got to show that I can grow hair still.
They say that having a bald head is a sign of high testosterone and confidence, and it's pretty.
Yeah. I can grow it on my arms, my legs, my hair, on my chest, but face, just not the head. Apparently,
doesn't bother me like it used to. I'm being honest. I'm 40 now, and it probably started to go bald when I was early 20s, to be honest. That little spot right in the back of your head. John Cena's got one of those going on right now, but he's in his 50s and he's jacked and everything. But I mean, it killed me for years because I was always, out and about.
It still kills me. I look at Keith doing this and I'm like, I'm so jealous.
But Mike, you to be fair, you flaunt you have a beautiful girlfriend, right? Wife, soon to be wife, something like that, if I'm not mistaken. So
she helps me look a lot better.
Exactly. So what's the harm? You're bald, F it. Put on a wig if you want, or one of those trucker hats with the built-in ponytail in the back. You ever see one of those?
That would be great. That's my next Halloween costume right there, Chris. But
Beautiful.
I'm gonna get out of your guys' hair because I want to listen to you guys so I can make some money. So maybe I can go get some new hair.
Absolutely. Get a hair system is what they call it.
Take care. It sounds like a nursery rhyme at this point, but good luck.
You got it. Keith, good afternoon. It is week 10 is upon us. November 10th, and it's week 10. Sometimes things just line up as they should. A lot of ones, 1-1, 1-0. It's like a computer-based program. How are you today for week 10?
I'm doing good, man. I'm a little mad at the guys before us. I think our contract states that we get to start at 12 p.m. exactly, and they went to 12:01, but I'll try to get over that.
I thought I was going to join you on that. I mean, I don't care if they want to, go over a few hours, but our show, we have to, stay to the letter of the law because lineups lock at 1:00. I'm not upset with that. I happen to start. I mean, I've been tuning in all morning, but I was, cleaning up and doing some other stuff. But right when I got on the broadcast to check my microphone, I knew I was on mute and the camera and everything. I heard the tail end of a discussion, and I heard what's his name say, well, without Aiden Hutchinson, I just don't see it. I don't know if they were talking about a Super Bowl or not, because it shouldn't be that heavy on the Sunday social in terms of start sit stuff. So I think it was, I don't know what it was, but they said because of Aiden Hutchinson, the Lions won't win the Super Bowl or can't beat San Francisco, something like that. I have a bone to pick there, but then I
think they made a trade that might have something to do with that. That we'll see. Y'all will see the fruits of that transaction here shortly. But I texted you last night, and I was just thinking about, because it's a smaller slate this week. We just have 10 games, several teams on bye, to see if you wanted to go through game by game, and we could kind of just discuss the game as a whole, and then point out obviously the players that we think you should either have in your cash game or MME lineups. Broncos Chiefs, first game. Kansas City, 8-point favorites, undefeated, best team in the NFL, over under 41.5. I'm not going to lie, like from a cash standpoint, the only real options I have in this game are Kareem Hunt with just the volume he's seen. Bo Nix, because the Chiefs get pressure, and that's when he seems to run the most. If you look at the games that teams have had a high pressure rate, those are the games actually that he has a really high rushing total, not to mention Chiefs don't allow rushing yards on anybody. And then I do like the Broncos defense this week at 2,400. Now for MME, I'm sure that there probably is some options and some guys you're looking at, and kind of how do you see this game playing out?
I'm with you to a certain extent. And if you look past the last, week, I wouldn't say 10 days is a little much because we're still talking about week 9. But a lot of folks, when I say a lot of folks, I mean, let's be honest, the national media, you can't turn anywhere anymore without, a collection of men and a few women sitting around talking about football on ESPN or Fox Sports, whatever it is. Some shows they're not created equal. Let's say it how it is here. But there was a majority. I would correct me if I'm wrong, Keith, or anybody in the comments, correct me if I'm wrong, but there a lot of folks we're saying Denver can upset Kansas City this week, and I don't believe it could. Kansas City could be at home against anybody this week, and I think we're getting Kansas City Chief fatigue, to be fair. I'm not. I love it. 7-0, 8-0, collision course off in the playoffs against a high-end NFC team. I mean, that would be fantastic, but a lot of folks are saying that Denver could upset them today. It planted a bug, and I could see it for a second. And then when I actually sat down last night, and I sent you the screenshot of all my final scores. Does Denver have a chance in Kansas City? Absolutely. Will they win? Absolutely not. But it'll be close. I have it within 3 points, and 3 points is enough to be a margin of error, right? There was an election that just came and went. Margin of error, so 3 points either way. It's just a field goal. Could be anyone's game. Just like when we're talking, sporting, odds and lines, -1. Minus -1 plus 1.5, that's basically still a pick 'em. But when we look at this game, I'm riding Bo Nix until the wheels fall off. He's been in bottom of the barrel like 5 weeks in a row at the start of the rise of Bo Nix, and it's bore some fruit the last few weeks. But Kansas City right now 18th overall against opposing quarterbacks, and still $7,000 on FanDuel. There's going to come a time probably next week where he's not readily available for bottom of the barrel given the price tag. Bo Nix, 22 completions, 215 yards, a pair of touchdown passes, and I love the idea that Sean Payton is, the playbook is now open, and the trust is just gaining momentously for Bo Nix. So to me, Bo Nix is the play. And when we look on the other side of the ball, if you're talking GPPs, and Dave wasn't the creator of the bring back, but I believe he make the bring back great again in a way, right? When you're talking Bo and Javonte and Cortland Sutton, what's going to be the bring back in the same game on the opposing team? It's got to be Kareem Hunt. This guy is just a touchdown monger. But what about DeAndre Hopkins? That was special what we saw a few nights ago, when he caught 2 touchdowns, and he's got to be absolutely over the moon excited to be playing for Kansas City. So as I said, Bo Nix, Javonte, Cortland Sutton, if you wanted to, those 3 Broncos, and then bring back with Kareem Hunt. It shocked me, and then we can move on. I told you you're going to have to, not mute my microphone. This isn't
I'll tell you when we got
a national debate where you can mute microphones. It's nuts. But on the opposite end, what shocked me is Patrick Mahomes, only $7,900, which is strange. He's always been, in my lifetime, right, playing DFS. He's been 9-8, 10-2 on FanDuel, and we can see it, right? They're winning games, and that's all that really matters. But he's not hanging 3 touchdowns in the air, 1 on the ground, 350.
That could change this week, though. You got Smith-Schuster, you got Kareem Hunt, you've got obviously the addition of Hopkins, you got Kelsey. Like, I think this is the best Chiefs team of the last 3 years when you include how good their defense is, which is by far the best in the NFL.
And that's what I was getting at. I was making a whole heck of a lot of 1 p.m. only lines, or 4 p.m. only 3 lines, or express, just the 2 425 games. But the 1 p.m. only, you're in a strange spot with quarterbacks if you're going to spend down a little bit. And Patrick Mahomes is right there, and you're like, so I'm not punting the quarterback position, but I'm looking at Aaron Rodgers is 7-1, Bo Nix is 7, and you're telling me all I got to do is move around. All I got to do is punt a tight end and really, go reach down low for a DST, and I can pop Patrick Mahomes. And absolutely, because the aura of Patrick Mahomes is still there. The excitement of Patrick Mahomes is still there. I don't have any projections readily available for him because he's always, I don't know, I don't know a date and time where Patrick Mahomes was eligible. My self-imposed, salary constraints for Patrick Mahomes. But this game's going to be fantastic. Put a bow on it. Over under 41.5. I have Kansas City to win by 3, as I said, 24-21. An exciting game.
You got a little bit over too. All right. So the Steelers, Commanders, arguably the best matchup this week. 2 really good football teams. I do worry that Washington is the good bad team. They have 4 wins this year versus teams with 3 wins or less. They've been kind of beating up on those squads. This is Jaden Daniels' first game versus a top 10 defense, DVOA. But from a DFS standpoint, again, Washington 2.5-point favorites, 44.5-point over under. Originally, I was leaning away from George Pickens. I assumed the Marcus Lattimore was going to play. He is out. So I think Pickens is a great play. On the Pittsburgh side, Najee Harris is another guy that I like for cash. I think he's a very solid player. MME, it concerns me because I just don't think he could have a monster game, and we're always looking for that. On the Washington side, Austin Eckler, 5,800 is a great value on DK, whether it be cash or MME. He played almost 50% of the snaps last week in a game Washington controlled, throughout. And I think this game's going to be closer. He'll be a little bit more involved. And we know Brian Robinson's out. But my favorite play from this game is Noah Brown. 4 cash games too, 4,400. Pittsburgh is the only defense in the NFL that allows more receiving yards and more fantasy points to number 2 wide receivers than they do number 1 wide receivers. Why is that? Joey Porter Jr. is a very, very good cornerback. I do expect him to be on Terry McLaurin a majority of that game. To make matters worse, Commanders OC, he does not move McLaurin around a lot. He does not play in the slot, which Porter doesn't really move around a lot either. But I think that from what we've seen, he's not going to move McLaurin to the slot, meaning Washington's going to have to find other avenues. And that is why I'm so bullish on both Eckler and especially Noah Brown, because he's only 4,400 this week. But I do think the Steelers are going to end up winning this game. I think Pittsburgh's a really good team. And again, I think Washington may be that good bad team that we'll find out today. And I hope not, because I love Daniels. It's a great story, but they have been beating up on bad teams. They lost pretty handily. I know it's 30-23 in their only game versus a good opponent and the Ravens. What are you looking at in this game?
Yeah, I'm with you. Everything lines up. We're right on track. Same deal. But the final score is way off in terms of who I have winning. I think Washington wins. I think Washington and your Atlanta Falcons, that they're the two highest scoring teams during the 1 p.m. slate, let's say, right? That's actually the last game when you list it down chronologically or however you want to do it. I have Washington winning 31-17 in a game. If that's the final score, then it's not going to be necessarily close if I'm not mistaken. This game, Pittsburgh's plus 2 points. They're in Washington. How many? It makes me think of there was a what's it called? A TikTok of some guy going absolutely ape shit. And I still don't know how to do this, right? He's talking like we are, but in the background is like his phone screen or something where you could see all the final scores, and he's just yelling. He's just absolutely yelling. Yeah, you guys haven't beaten anybody. You guys are beating up on bad teams. And to be fair, I've had a lot of experience defending the Lions over the years, and they've done absolutely nothing. So it's kind of like hardened to that. But what are good teams are beat up on bad teams? Isn't that the MO? If you're going to say, well, your team is very good, but they've only beaten bad teams. Well, then they're doing what they should. Just like last week, the Green Bay folks, sorry, I'm getting off on a tangent here. Green Bay folks said, the Lions just executed better, but we're the better team and we'll win next time. Well, the team that executes best is the better team. That's what it's all about, executing perfectly and scoring points. So to me, Washington, they're primed and ready to roll. They're probably, you got to get these dogs off the chain. They want to just absolutely take a bite out of Mike Tomlin and the Steelers in this one. And finally, when they win 31-17-ish, can we just tone down on they beat nobody and they're legit?
I will be happy to say that. But again, I want to see them do it because they have not played a top 10 DVOA all year. It's not just that they've beaten bad teams. They have scored all these points on bad defenses. And if you look at some of the actually decent defenses they played, those have been the games they've only scored like 20 to 25 points. All those explosion games where they scored all these points have come against literally the bottom 10 defenses in the league. I would love to be wrong. I think the league's better with Daniels and Washington being really good. I just think right now they've kind of beat up on an easy schedule, partly because they had the number 2 pick. And, that's the way the NFL does it, right? Like is the further you finish in your division, the easier they set up the schedule. And I think that's a good way to do it. Is there any other players for this game for DFS that you're really looking at or that you love?
Yeah, I sent out a tweet yesterday with my notes. You can find them at Detroit Beastie, at Fantasy Six Pack, wherever. And it's not for some odd reason. George Pickens is one of like 5 players that are absolute cornerstones of all my lineups here this afternoon, 1 p.m. And when you look at him, 8 or 9 targets, 5 to 6 receptions, 80 yards and a touchdown. I have George Pickens around, like I said, 80 yards, but I would say comfortably 70 yards and a touchdown is his floor. He makes for a beautiful first leg of an anytime touchdown.
The number ones are killing Washington this year.
And when week 10 against the Commanders, they have a middling secondary. He's had 3 catches of 20 or more yards and a touchdown. I mean, George Pickens is finally, I think he arrived kind of last season, but I think George Pickens is one of the, suppressed as one of the higher end wide receiver ones, and nobody wants to talk about it because he's fantastic. But to me, George Pickens is in play. I also love, if we're going to do the stack and the bring back, I made that up for just this broadcast alone. Jaylen Warren. Again, Pittsburgh is at Washington. And again, Chris, you have Washington.
Yeah, they're down. No, that makes sense. A lot of receptions. Yeah.
You have Washington to score 31, but you're stacking up Pittsburgh Steelers. There's a science to this stuff, kids. Look at this. Jaylen Warren, 7 to 8 carries, 40 yards, plus 3 to 4 receptions for another 20 to 30 yards. So you're looking well over double-digit targets and touches, maximum 15 to 16, but at minimum, I have him for at least 10 or 11, and he's still so cheap, 5.5 on FanDuel, 5.3 on DK, and everywhere else across the board. It is what it is. Russ Wilson has, kind of come into his own, but has he found his old self again? And when you look at, I had to make at least 1 or 2 lines with Jaden Daniels as my quarterback, and he's 8-4 on FanDuel. And it's one of those things where after I've built the lineup, I'm still short 500, minus $500. And that's when I would go, oh, Patrick Mahomes fits in this line beautifully if all I got to do is fade Jaden Daniels. So that's where my mind has been building lineups. That was the comparison. You plop Jaden Daniels out and boom, you can put in Patrick Mahomes and what's his name? Travis Kelce. So we shall see. Washington 31-17. I think that's the move.
Probably the biggest mismatch of the day, the Vikings at the Jags. Minnesota, a touchdown favorite. Over under 43.5. The big news, Trevor Lawrence is out. Mac Jones is in. I'll let you talk about him because I'm sure, especially from an MME perspective, you can go a bunch of different ways by playing a quarterback that's 4,400. I'm not sure what he is on FanDuel. Parker Washington, though, is somebody that I do like for cash at 3,900. He's kind of taken over the Christian Kirk role. This is a Jags team that they just traded away their left tackle. So now you have this Vikings defense that is so good and gets so much pressure. So he's going to have to get rid of the ball quickly. I think that means a lot of targets to Evan Ingram. Parker Washington, that's not great news for like the Gabe Davises, Brian Thomas of the world. It's not great news for Tank Bigsby, who we've seen once the Jags get down, they just don't let him play in pass catching situations. On the other side for the Vikings, a lot of people are going to be on Darnold this week for cash. I get it. First of all, he's going to be very high owned. But second of all, I just worry if this game gets out of hand, really how much damage can he do? And instead, are they going to lean on Aaron Jones at 6,700, who another guy very high on? But I do Aaron Jones. I'm not going to blame anybody for playing any running back versus the Jags' horrible run defense. But the guy for me is Justin Jefferson. If you can find a way to play him at 8,800 on DK and cash, you should do it. And it's because the Jags run man defense at almost 45% of the time. It's one of the highest rates in the NFL. And this season, Jefferson is averaging over 3 fantasy points per target versus man defense. Yes, I mean, it's insane. He's literally a man eater. So if they end up playing the way the Jags have played every game, no matter how good of a wide receiver they played so far this year, there's a very good chance that Justin Jefferson gets off. How do you feel about Mac Jones, though? Because, I mean, again, he's 4,400 on DK. I don't know what his FanDuel price is, but there's some value there, right?
Yes and no. But when I looked at, he's going to get off. I don't know what they're saying. And it's not even, I'm not even sexualizing the saying. I had, when I worked at that treatment center, one of the older OGs, sober, like 30, 35 years, he would say anytime, instead of getting drunk, you were getting off. If you were taking prescription medication, you were they just want to do what they want to do so they can get off. That was always the end result. I don't know why that came up. Minnesota at Jacksonville. By all means, I have an over of all overs in this one. 28-21 is kind of the final here. So you're looking at 49 total points. That to be that's a smash over. If it's opened at 43 and you're looking at 49 to 50 points, I'm taking that over. I wondered why. I had to look it up because I had not heard about this. Was me on like Friday, let's say. I had not heard that T-Law wasn't playing because Mac Jones keeps popping up in optimizers and any little searches that I'm doing. And when you look at his price tag, it can be done. We've seen him. I don't know what the heck happened to him that first year, or maybe it was 2, if I remember correctly. He was looking like the future of the Patriots. And then
there it is. He got a bad deal. Like the offensive line was bad. They had no weapons. And what was the idiot Detroit coach that you guys, he was a
Matt
defense.
Patricia, that fatso.
It's like, what are you doing to this poor young QB who'd shown so much promise? I feel like he got a bad deal, and I'm kind of excited. At least, this week, maybe next week, gets a chance to kind of get back on track.
Yeah, they folded him up and just saw, hey, we're leaving here. It goes without saying. I'll just rubber stamp what you said about Darnold. Aaron Jones is in a lot of my lineups for 1 p.m. only, specifically given what he can do. And the DVP across their 30, Jacksonville's 31st against quarterbacks, 29th against running backs, 29th against wide receivers, 23rd against tight ends. They're probably dead last against kickers. They're 23rd against opposing DST. So you would think Minnesota in a route, and I believe that there's going to be a time and place where Minnesota gets up double digits, let's say 17-0, 21-0, something like that. And Mac Jones is going to be slinging the ball all over the place. And I have him around anywhere between 35 to 38 passing attempts for Mac Jones, 240 yards, a touchdown pass or two, and he'll take off a few times for maybe like 10 yards. That's not why you're rostering him, but 240 to 250 passing yards would normally lend itself to a pair of touchdown passes. Will he make mistakes, an interception or two? Will he get sacked and fumble the football? Absolutely. But the good versus the bad, given the price tag, the good outweighs it in my eyes. And when you look at what the heck are we going to do on Jacksonville's side of the ball, you're right. It's all about Parker Washington, because DVP, Minnesota can be had in the air. They're 31st overall against opposing wide receivers. They're 5th against running backs. That's fantastic. 7th against tight ends. There's a fact where Jacksonville Jaguars are predominantly my punt play at DST for the heck of it. They're the cheapest, and we'll see what we get. Minnesota's going to hang some points, but Jacksonville
turning it over more, to your point lately.
Exactly. Yeah. Is Sam Darnold, is this the week? I mean, has he started to kind of turn into a little bit of a pumpkin? I don't know why.
I knew you were going.
I don't know why that's saying. It's happened out of nowhere, and I've been using it for a few years, and it paints a picture, and you get your point across in one sentence here. But to me, it's all about Washington. Brian Thomas Jr., the rookie, he's questionable, but last I heard he is expected to play. So give me that Parker Washington, Brian Thomas, 1-2, bing bang boom. Gabe Davis, the guy, I should say, not really on my radar, given the fact that I'd prefer.
We can't. We're an anti-Gabe Davis show. No, we can't.
Yeah, it's nuts. But he'll have how many times? Maybe 2-3 times in a season, he'll absolutely break the slate, or any seasonal fantasy teams where he'll score 50+ points, 3 touchdowns, 200 yards. But they're few and far between. So to me, I would, for the heck of it, Minnesota, as I said, going to score 28 points. Run with Darnold, Aaron Jones, and Justin Jefferson, and for good measure, throw in Jordan Addison. I'm not at all saying Jordan Addison is on the same page or on par with Justin Jefferson, but Addison, the kid has it in him, and will this be the game? So there's your 4 Minnesota Vikings, and run it back with Thomas and Parker Washington again, because I have 28-21 final score. If you count that up, you're looking at around 6 to 7 touchdowns, and I say this in the single game slate, 6 or 7 touchdowns. I do that first, and then I work my way back, and I dole out the touchdowns. So to me, Addison, Jefferson, Aaron Jones, Brian Thomas Jr., and Parker Washington. There's 5 touchdowns right there, and you could pick whatever quarterback to steer this sucker. So give me the over and give me Minnesota to win 28-21, Keith.
All right, I'm going to get some heartburn because we're going to talk Falcons Saints. I also just want to add, I know it's been 2 years ago, but Mac Jones was actually better versus Brian Flores' defenses, considerably better than all other quarterbacks for his last year in Miami. And I think it's because, they blitz so much. He's actually good at getting rid of the ball quickly, making, quick decisions. I do think, though, Brian Flores may mix it up. You may actually see a smaller blitz percentage. But my Falcons are playing the Saints. They're 4-point favorites on the road, 46.5 over under. This game scares the crap out of me because this is just such an Atlanta game that we will find a way to lose. Chris Olave's out. They've already lost Shaheed for the season. For cash, there's really just 2 guys that I'm leaning in heavily on. Bijan, I mean, we finally are seeing the Bijan that everybody wanted this year and last, where they're giving him the ball a ton, 20+ touches, 5 straight, 20+ points in 5 straight. Like, Saints rush defense has been so awful as of late. And on the Saints side, it's Taysom Hill, who I think is maybe my favorite play and most owned play in cash. He's 4K. He just continues to get red zone touch. He's had 5 red zone carries in 5 games this season. The last time he played the Atlanta Falcons, he scored 2 rushing touchdowns and had almost a 20-point first half. Unfortunately, he got knocked out and missed the next couple of weeks. But in basically a half, he scored over 17 points. Last week, he scored 14. And then with all these injuries to the Saints pass catchers, he's seeing targets. He's seen 9 targets the last 2 weeks. So if you're telling me he's going to get at least 5 rush attempts, something he's done in the last 3 games, and he's going to get at least 4 or 5 targets, what tight end do you know that you're going to get 9-10 opportunities every game? Like, even the best tight ends don't see that on a consistent basis. I think he scores a touchdown. I actually think this game is relatively close. The Falcons passing game should be okay, and it should be able to just feast on the Saints who have been getting burned. But I do worry about with London coming in banged up. Actually, this is one of Cousins' worst games indoors this season. He did not look great in the first matchup. I know the Saints just got rid of Lattimore, but I think the Falcons end up winning by about a touchdown. I do think there will be plenty of points scored, but the only two people I feel comfortable in cash playing are Taysom Hill, Bijan Robinson. There's a lot of guys I'm sure that you're about to tell us that you can feel pretty good about in MME.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Right when you were still talking, it froze, and I assumed that maybe it glitched, and I assumed you were done. This game is very, very interesting to me. Again, in that little tweet I sent out last night with my notes, the Washington to score 31 points, and I have Atlanta to score 31 points. And to me, Monday Night Football aside, given the fact that it's Monday and we're talking about the main slate, I have the Rams to score 31 points too. But Washington and Atlanta, the two highest scoring teams for Week 10 up in my book. Well, how do they get there? Again, let's deduce the yardage and the points and work our way back. So this one it's just filled with all these stars and kind of studs, and DVP across the board lines up beautifully. I cannot shake this feeling given the matchup and the game flow and the fact that New Orleans, their high-end wide receivers are out. Alvin Kamara has one of those, Christmas Day kind of games where he scores 3+ times, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times would be absolutely nuts, but everything is lined up to be that way. And again, not everybody thinks whacked out and crazy like I do, but to me, Alvin Kamara is an absolute, has to be, he's probably my 1A, and Bijan is my 1B of my RB combos for DFS slates. And so that in turn, that would mean that this game is beyond stackable, and I would do 4 and 4 at Falcons, 4 New Orleans Saints. Enter for a couple bucks, $4 or $5, and see what we get. I have Alvin Kamara. If I'm not mistaken, this is from memory, and if my computer lags for a second, give me a moment, because I wrote down some projections and stuff. If I'm not mistaken, he's caught like 4 or 5 passes in 5 straight games, something nuts like that, which is fantastic. I think it's, to be fair, I think he's caught 5 or more passes in 4 straight games. So what are the chances that he's, catches 5 more passes this week to go with double-digit carries? So this one, to me, just slam Alvin Kamara, slam Bijan, because, New Orleans 24th overall against opposing running backs, and game flow is a huge deal. I told you last night, and I'll tell all of you here, you can always find our stuff on Discord. That's where I post everything, with it being 12:30. Quick little time check here. The Discord is where all the action is, the NFL DFS channel, the sports betting channel. And I shared the screenshot of my final score, and Atlanta wins this one 31-24. So it's a difference of a touchdown. What are the chances that New Orleans has the ball late in the fourth quarter and they fed Alvin? Alvin's done all he can do to get the Saints over that hump to get a touchdown, while Taysom Hill runs wildcat, some weird wildcat formation, direct snaps in the red zone. So there's a lot to like in this one, and there's a lot of, the game script can be nuts. And you mentioned to me, maybe it was in the middle of the week or Thursday, that Drake London was hurt, and we didn't know if he was going to play, and in turn, Ray McLeod might be a nice move. With or without Drake London, I'm going to run with Ray McLeod anyways, given he's only 5'9" on FanDuel, and the Saints are 20th overall against there. The one who, let's say Drake London does not play, or let's say Drake London, the first possession of the game, something happens and he's not, they're like, okay, well, you're done for the day. We don't want to, hurt this anymore. Kadero Hodge would make for a good play too. That 1-2 punch at wide receiver. So to me, you're looking at Kirk Cousins. Let me bring that up again. Kirk Cousins, how many passing attempts will he see? Old Man River at this point, 22 to 23 completions, 270 yards. I have Kirk 270 yards and 2 touchdown passes as a floor, and we have to be careful, right? A lot of hate on Monday night when I said Burrow's going to have 3 touchdowns. Lamar Jackson's going to have 3 touchdowns. And after the first half of
where are
football,
the haters at now?
after that, I can't tell you how many times that's happened in the length of what I'm doing, writing and broadcasting. And I'm like, last time I checked, there's 4 quarters. But after halftime, I was even a little nervous because it was like, what was it, 7-10 or something crazy?
Yeah.
And then boom, it went off. So let's you got to let these guys finish the race, right? It's not over till the fat lady sings, whatever other strange cliches you got here. But as I said, I love the idea of Ray and Hodge. And I built one line that was basically for you when I have Juwan Johnson as my tight end and Kyle Pitts as my flex. You can see him, boom, boom, and we go from there. You don't have to do it vice versa because it's not a single game slate. But Pitts and Juwan Johnson is a fantastic way to get some sort of exposure to this, but still kind of keeping your shirt on, if that's even a saying.
Absolutely.
Right? You don't want to spend a ton of dough.
Let's move on 49ers Bucks because I don't want to get too far behind.
Yeah,
49ers Bucks, San Francisco, 6.5 point favorites. Huge over under. Goodness gracious, 50.5. Return to CMC is the big deal. I was shocked. The projected ownership for him right now is the 7th highest most owned running back on DraftKings. Now, granted, we now have had good news for that. They're saying there was a report 20 touches is about basically what they would let him touch the ball up to. If he gets 20 touches versus Tampa, that's very good. This is actually a game. Right. This is a game actually I'm going to kind of stay away from in cash overall. There's one guy that like obviously you want to play K-Dot and I can't hate on that. Like the targets and receptions since the injury to the receivers are outrageous. By the way, San Francisco has given up 21 receptions to tight ends their last 3 games. Now the yardage and touchdowns weren't much, but the receptions to where, if he has 7 for 50 yards and a touchdown, then obviously it's 5,500 he'd be, but I'm going away from him. It's Juwan Jennings is the guy I really like, 5,100. I think he's going to benefit so much from having all those other weapons there, and he's still going to be the wide receiver that basically takes the Brandon Ayuk role. The Bucks run a crap ton of zone. He is the guy that is actually beat up on zone this year. It's actually he has more fantasy points per target. He has that higher target rate than Debo, like across the board for these pass catchers. I do think San Francisco is going to lean on the run. I think you're going to see CMC. I think you'll see some Jordan Mason still, but I think Juwan Jennings could have, one of those games where he has 3-4 catches for 70, 80 yards and a touchdown. And then again, on the Tampa side, I worry that they're going to run out of just, Baker has been doing miracle work, honestly, the last few weeks. I worry that this is a legit San Francisco defense, a legit San Francisco coaching staff, now with a healthy offense, and they had a week to prepare for this game. I think that's bad news for Tampa. I think San Francisco ends up winning fairly easy. Who you got in this game, or how do you see it going, Chris?
Well, let me say this. I have Tampa Bay to win 28-24. So we're looking at an over, right? That's, is that set in stone in your opinion? The over.
I would be surprised if it's not. Yeah. I mean, like I would be leery about taking the over under because it just scares me. I would rather bet San Francisco and give the points. But if I had to bet, I'd take the over.
What's that saying? I don't know where it came from, but scared money don't make money, Keith. You gotta have a horse somewhere. But to be fair, I didn't even notice until this morning, that I had, of course, I was aware that I had Tampa Bay to win by 4 points, 28-24. But been in a group chat for like 5 years with shout out to Gemmo the Icon, Mike Fantasy Stoner, Mike Reedy is in there, and Beezy from the it was started as an undroppables deal, that website. But when we look at what else, I had Tampa Bay to win 28-24, but I did that and I wasn't even accounting for Christian McCaffrey, that he would be back, right? And Stoner, who's a big Frisco guy, said, F you piece of crap. I mean, that's just the kind of conversations we have over there. But even with Christian McCaffrey being active, I think Tampa Bay has been, I don't want to say magical, because they have some oomph to them, right? They're pretty good, to be honest. And when you look at Christian McCaffrey, he's going to do some damage. He said around 20 total touches. I have him around 17 or 18. That's the apples to apples to oranges, however you want to put it.
Right.
But get this, Tampa Bay has allowed 26.6 points per game, which is 5th most in the NFL. But the Buccaneers have held opponents to 132 rushing yards per game, which is 19th overall. So they're giving up dang near 30 points a game, but you're going to have to get to them through the air. there because they're only allowing 132 rush yards a contest. So where does that all come from, right? Jawan Jennings, absolutely smash. I'd prefer Ricky Pearsall. He's $100 cheaper on FanDuel. But again, why can't we stack both of them? Jennings, Pearsall, put in George Kittle there. There's your little 3-man San Francisco move. If you got some extra dough, put McCaffrey. But what's the bring back on the other side? Rashad White, I'm off of him. You never know if it's going to be White or Bucky Irvin, or heck.
They get down, I think he's interesting. Because like if the game goes away, I think he's probably going to catch a crap load of passes. I agree with you, though. If the game's competitive throughout, I wouldn't want to touch him.
Yeah, so let's do it. I have Rashad White in my what's it called? Scott Fishbowl, 1 win away from the playoffs. Get in there with the points anyways. But run it. Rashad White, Bucky Irving, Cade Otton, and then you stack up Jawan, Ricky, and George Kittle. Would that be unique to a certain extent? If it just makes it unique at the fact that you don't have Christian McCaffrey in there. But to me, I'm standing by what I said, with or without Christian McCaffrey, which is silly because he is such an absolute game breaker when he's playing. That what he can do and the passes received and the running and all that is CMC going to be up to speed? Yet more than likely, yes. We've seen this kid over the course of his career, the way he lives and trains, and he won't even wear jeans on game day because his dad, his old man dad, an NFL legend in his own right, said, "Why are you wearing jeans? It constricts the blood flow in your legs," and thought something I would have never thought of. But I'm still taking Tampa Bay to win this one, 28-24. And there are a million chances that this does not happen this way, but it could be 31-27. There's something like that.
I'll start calling you the Oracle. I promise you. If this ends up going just a Tampa Bay win, I don't care the score. I'm going to call you the Oracle. Buffalo and Indy. Buffalo 4-point favorites, over under 46.5. This is a game where it's interesting for me because I think there's some real value in cash at the wide receiver, where I know a lot of people are going to play the more expensive guys, the Jeffersons, the Garrett Wilsons, the London, whatever. Josh Downs and Khalil Shakir, it's hard to beat that combination with these matchups. The Bills, they get beat by far the most by wide receivers in the slot. We know that's where Josh Downs lines up. We know Joe Flacco's starting. We know that means like an uber target rate for Josh Downs. So I think he's a very safe play. But Khalil Shakir has probably become my favorite wide receiver for cash games this week. And the reason is that they run zone. Indy does more than any team in the NFL. Khalil Shakir versus man sees a 8% target rate, almost a 30% target rate versus zone. Khalil Shakir's target or separation 1 on basically versus man, 3 versus zone. His fantasy points per target, again, much lower versus man than it is versus zone. And then on top of that, Indy's been better against the run lately. And we have seen Buffalo start to use Khalil Shakir because his ADOT's been so low. It's basically an extension of their run game just through the pass, where they're throwing these short, almost like Deebo Samuel type plays, right? Where just get the ball to Khalil and let him do what he does. And I think at 6K, he's going to have at least 6 to 8 receptions. I think there's a decent chance he scores. I'm coming around on Josh Allen at 7,700. I just think they're going to need him. I don't know if Buffalo is going to be able to really run on Indy the way they want to. That may mean Allen actually has to use his legs, which he has not done very much this year wisely. Like, it sucks for fantasy owners, but for Buffalo's long-term plans, if you want to win, Super Bowls and championships, you got to keep your QB healthy. And then the one that's most interesting to me is Jonathan Taylor, who I ended up not playing in any cash game lineups. But let's be honest, you can run on this Buffalo defense. Obviously, they're, I think, like 30th or 31st on DK and points allowed. But it does concern me that in the games with Flacco, he has not been as effective. Does that mean that just Anthony Richardson standing next to him was taking away defense's attention? And that's why all of his monster games have came with Anthony Richardson, and he has yet to eclipse 85 yards in his 3 games with Joe Flacco. We'll find out today, because obviously if he goes off, you can say, well, the first games was just circumstances, whatever. If it happens again, that's concerning news for Jonathan Taylor owners moving forward. But this is another one of those games that overall in DFS, like outside of those 2 receivers, I'm trying to stay away. Like, there's not really any guys because most of them are overpriced, in my opinion, for what they are.
Yeah, what you see is what you get in this one. To me personally, maybe I'm on an island here, but F it. I have the Colts to score at least like 20 to 21 points. So if you do the math, that's 3 touchdowns. Where are they going to come from? Jonathan Taylor finds the end zone on the ground. I think Josh Downs receives a touchdown, and that third one, that hopeful third touchdown from the Colts. I have no idea. Mo Alley Cox throws a touchdown. I don't know why. I've used that for years. I wrote it in Bottom of the Barrel like 3 years ago. I have a feeling Mo Alley Cox throws a touchdown, and it is yet to happen. So I'll just keep saying it. And when
what
it
about
does,
AD Mitchell, Alec Pierce, right? Like we know Pittman's out.
Yeah.
Those guys are cheap. Like those are guys that are very intriguing to me in MME, are both Pierce and especially Mitchell. Mitchell's 3,400 on DK. He's the kind of guy that could, at $3,400, catch 3 passes for 110 yards and a touchdown. So do you like those guys potentially as darts and MME?
Absolutely. I haven't looked it up this week, but I know there was like a 2 to 3 game stretch as early as last week where Alec Pierce was leading the league in average yards, per reception. At one point it was 25.5.
Well, I'm pretty sure he does. I know
last
that,
week it dipped to
a third of his
24.
receptions are 40 yards or more, which is insane when you think
right now it's at 22.9 yards a reception. So just call it 23 yards a catch, 6-7 targets, 4 to 5 receptions. You do the math, 50, 60 yards, and we'll go from there. He had just 67 yards through weeks 6 to 9. It was a decline after the 368 yards he had in 3 touchdowns in week 1 to 5. An absolute, why not? I mean, when you look at his price tag on FanDuel, at least only 5.2. But again, Buffalo 5th overall against opposing wide receivers. But as you said, it's more of a dart. I don't know what the heck goes on in the Indianapolis Colts backfield aside from Jonathan Taylor, which is strange to even say because the stud RB1 would dominate everything. And, Trey Sermon, a bum, Goodson was more efficient than Trey Sermon.
Yeah,
he's flashed a little bit. And then on the opposite side, Khalil Shaker, again, was in that tweet. Shakur, however you want to put it, Pickens and Josh Downs, the 1 through 3 wide receivers that were in my core, stacked up with Alvin and Bijan in my mind. Buffalo will win this one 24 to around 20. So it'll be more competitive at the end than we know. But still, you could take Indianapolis plus the points if you have some stones, some hair on your chest, however you want to put it, like Mike in his Green Bay jersey, because Buffalo wins by 4 exactly, and that half a point for the Colts might put us over. Am I betting the farm on it? No, but it is fun to say.
All right, we got our second QB rookie matchup in the last 3 weeks. We saw Daniels versus Williams 2 weeks ago. That ended on the Hail Mary. We get May versus Williams this week. Chicago 6-point favorites, over under 38.5. Ironically, this game's gross. I actually think New England has a great chance not only to cover, but to win outright. Chicago's got injuries on the offensive line. Caleb Williams seems to be regressing. He's dealing with an ankle issue, but there is some place for cash that I love. Both defenses, I think, are great options in cash. The Pats at 2,500. Again, offensive line issues. Caleb Williams has been sacked 12 times in just the last 3 games. The Bears, again, on the other side, I think are also a good one at 3K. But the 2 players I really like in this game, Hunter Henry, 3,900. He's a number 1 wide receiver you're getting for 3,900. Like with Drake May, he is the number 1 wide receiver in this offense. That's extreme value. And then DeAndre Swift, 6,500. Like the Bears are in desperation mode right here. Like they have to win this game. They were 4-2. Hail Mary happened. Now all of a sudden they're 4-4 2 weeks later. Patriots are so bad versus the run. Last 5 games, 788 yards allowed to opposing running backs in just the last 5 games. If I'm the Chicago Bears, and this is a must-win game, which it is, I would run the ball with DeAndre Swift and Roschon Johnson until New England proves they can stop it. And I don't think they can. So I love DeAndre Swift at 6,500. Who do you kind of like in this game?
Well, on paper, I think Chicago wins and hangs like 28 points. What I had originally was Chicago 27-14. It's almost basically 1 point away from doubling them up. And the more I sat and looked at it, that final score in that projection was, based on, just absolute ceilings for everybody for the Bears. And now I could see a case, and I don't know if I've ever done this in the length of time I've written DFS. I could take that same score, 27-14, and flip it in New England's favor, right? So whichever team's going to win, they're going to win, emphatically by 13 points, something like that. Sure. I absolutely hammered this game home and bottom of the barrel. Not much to say. I mean, Drake May is a fantastic move, but the Chicago Bears are first overall against opposing quarterbacks. But I looked at Drake May as sort of this loose cannon kind of kid who's, learning on the fly, and he's making big strides on
averaging
a week-to-week
8 points per game just with his legs, which is why I think he is a safe play in DFS or fantasy still.
Yeah. And the loose cannon in a way is just like he's going to stand in there, kind of like Joe Burrow. Not compare,
not saying,
Drake May is like Joe Burrow, because Joe Burrow is like on another planet, but the team around him can't get it together. I digress. Drake May is an absolute fantastic play. I have him around 21, 22 completions, 220 yards. If the score is Chicago 27-14, Drake May will have 1 touchdown. If you flip it, which is a strange thing to do, give the Patriots 27 points, then Drake May will have 2 touchdown passes and 1 on the ground. What are the chances in this one that the Patriots do win and Drake May has his hands or his legs in on every touchdown that's scored, whether it's through the air, on the ground? So to me, Drake May is he probably is, him or Bo Nix, my 1A, 1B of favorite quarterbacks for GPP, single game slates or single game, entries, things like that. So yeah, give me the idea. I built a lot more on less.
All right, we got 3 games, so we'll try to move quickly here. Titans, Chargers. I don't want anything to do with the Titans. Justin Herbert, to me, is the best value in cash this week, 5,200. I keep talking about it since the bye. We're now in a 4-game sample, 280 passing yards per game. That's double. They're throwing it 10 times more per game than they were before the bye. He is starting to use his legs a little bit more. And then the biggest thing, they're throwing it on first down at the highest rate in the NFL since week 6. So they've completely changed there. I do think that obviously the Chargers win this game. That means J.K. Dobbins is a great play. Dobbins in games that the Chargers lose has been awful. Dobbins in games the Chargers win has been great. You could talk me into any of those Chargers wide receivers, but I actually like playing Herbert either naked or with Dobbins, because I just don't know who it's going to be week to week between Ladd, Johnston, and I think even Palmer's going to start to emerge. So really the only guys I'm playing are Herbert and Dobbins. Kind of who you like from that game, and then we just got the Eagles, Cowboys, Jets, Cardinals, and we'll get out of here.
Yeah, Justin Herbert is a favorite of mine. I said Bo Nix and Drake May, 1A, 1B, and then you could toss in, Justin Herbert as, if you want to get even crazier, 1A and then one double B, 1BB, however you want to put it, with Justin Herbert, 21 to 22 completions, 220 yards, 2 touchdown passes, and 3 to 4 carries for 15 yards. I have the Chargers to win this one 28-20, something like that. So Tennessee will make some moves. Tennessee will gain some yards, and they'll have a few touchdowns. The one guy I can't figure out, and given the price tag, is rookie wide receiver Ladd McConkey.
Ladd.
He was in that no man's land when I'm, building, and there's like a block of wide receivers, Kelvin Ridley was right there. Jordan Addison was right there. And he's in that same boat as Pickens and Downs.
Yeah. He's right there with Down. I'm with you. Like if he was 500 cheaper, I would love him this week, but he's too expensive, I think, for a guy that we just don't know what he's going to do week to week. Like which Charger receiver is going to be the focus.
I built a handful of lineups, and it was, I put Ladd in there, and it's literally within $100 or $200 of taking a massive step forward in my line with what DST I can put in there. So it's like I had to, I said, you know what? I mean, maybe 1 or 2 lineups, but I can't overdo it with Ladd. So he's in there, but it's a little less than I'd like. I love both, Quentin Johnson and Joshua Palmer too. So if you love those 2 wide receivers, why not Ladd? It's all for a price point. And again, Quentin and Palmer are both, Quentin's 5'9", Josh is 5'8". So you look at that, $400 more money, and if the one and $500, and it's a difference of another tight end with higher expectations and the difference of a DST. So to me, Justin Herbert, absolutely fantastic. And I love Nick Westbrook-Akeen as well, given the fact that he's taken a step forward in a way in terms of targets and touches. Kelvin Ridley and Nick Westbrook, and then run it back with Herbert, JK, and Ladd if you want to. So that's the move I have. I have the Chargers to hang 28 points and win this one 28-20, if that makes sense. And that's all I have for this one.
All right, Jets, Cardinals. Jets are 2-point favorites, over under 46.5. The other QB I'm using in cash this week, like I went on the cheap side. Justin Herbert is in a majority of my lineups. The next guy is Aaron Rodgers, 5,700. He's a totally different QB, at least from fantasy perspective, since they've made the addition for Devontae Adams. It's how condensed it is, and whether it be actually cash, but particularly in MME, I love building lineups with Rodgers, Wilson, and Adams. First week together, 48% of Rodgers' passes went to those guys. Second week, 50%. Last week, 62%. Guess which game he had the most success in? Last week. And then if you look at it, this is a Cardinals team that blitzes at an extremely high rate. And again, since they've made the trade, this Jets offense and Aaron Rodgers very good versus the blitz. And the reason for it is simple. When you have Garrett Wilson and Devontae Adams on the outside, who both can get open, quickly in one-on-one matchups and burn guys, that's good for Aaron Rodgers. Last week versus the blitz, 8 of 12, 100 yards, 2 touchdowns. If the Cardinals bring the heat this week, I think you're going to see Garrett Wilson, Rodgers, Adams all have good games. On the Cardinals side, I just I can't get behind and I feel like it's a trap because the Cardinals have shown they're pretty good. I mean, they're 5-4. They've had some really big wins, but I kind of like the Jets. I don't understand, though, why they are actually giving points on the road versus a 5-4 Arizona team. What do you think there, Chris?
Yeah, this is I think it was like second or third on my list of top 3 games. It went Chargers, Tennessee, just for value and final score. Philly and Dallas is fantastic too. Hope we'll have a few minutes here at the end. We only got like 7 minutes left.
We'll get there.
I'm editing lines and going from there. So I'll keep it simple. I have Arizona to win 24-21. Again, another game that could you could take that final score and flip it in favor of the Jets. Same deal with New England and Chicago. And why is that? You said it right then and there. Breece Hall, Alvin Kamara, Bijan, and Breece Hall. And you're not ready to go out on a limb, Chris. 3 stud wide running backs here. But hey, if the shoe fits, we'll wear it. James Conner also warrants some of our attention, given what he has done. He's just so when James Conner is active and rolling, he is a punishing, bruising running back that just puts his head down and just will ram it right in your face or wherever else. Michael Wilson, the Arizona's wide receiver, a little bit of dart-esque play here. Everybody, Marvin Harrison, Jr. Not the wide receiver we expected so far. He's going to be fantastic, but as
he might have a breakout
right now,
this week. A bunch of zone defenses the last few weeks. His best games have all came heavy man defenses. Jets run man at a very high rate. So it would not shock me if he has a good game with everybody's thinking, he's dead to me, basically.
This game is completely stackable. I forget what Atlanta, New Orleans was my first one. And then if I'm going to stack a second game, which I've already done, it's the Jets at Arizona. And the combos are they're wonderful. Rodgers, Adams, and Wilson and Breece Hall, that can get expensive. And then you just run it back with, let's say, Michael Wilson and James Conner, Michael Wilson and Trey McBride. Trey McBride's a little bit too expensive for my taste here. And who knows what we see. Again, the Jets 9th overall against opposing tight ends. As I said, Arizona wins this one 24-21. So you're looking at another 6 touchdown games decided by a field goal. Do with that what you will, Keith.
All right, last game, Eagles, Cowboys. Dak news came out. He's done for the year. So it's Cooper Rush, potentially. Trey Lance, eventually. Show in Dallas the rest of the way. Saquon, to me, is the guy in cash that I ended up passing on Jefferson, even though I love Jefferson versus Jacksonville, because I just have to have Barkley versus Dallas defense. I don't care that Micah Parsons is coming back. Like, they just can't stop the run. Hurts had an ankle injury, so I think they may lean a little bit more on the run. And I love Saquon 8,200. I also love Dottle at 6,100. I think, especially in the pass catching we've seen with these backup QBs, they throw it a lot to running backs and tight ends. And then, like, for the Dallas side, like, which pass? Because I think there's a lot of value with the cheaper Dallas passing options, whether it be Ferguson, Tolbert, whoever. Which kind of Dallas secondary options are you looking at? Because if they're down, there should be opportunities for them.
Yeah, Jalen Tolbert and Kevontae Turpin. I mean, this game would be. I don't think I've ever said this in my life. I really wish Brandon Cooks was healthy and active in this one, because I think he would go absolutely crazy. But in turn, where else are they going to go? I'm going to say Jalen Tolbert and Kevontae Turpin. Excuse me. I went out on a limb. This is every sense in the word. I mentioned Trey Lance in bottom of the barrel. What are the chances that Cooper Rush just looks like a lame duck out there, keeps getting hammered, not getting the ball where it needs to go, and they just say, you know what, let's see what we got in Trey Lance. Not saying Trey Lance is going to be the milli maker lineup quarterback, but there is a chance to be that sneaky move where you check who's first in your GPPs. You're like, we've done that a million times. You look at a winning parlay and you go, I can't believe I didn't think of that. I think Trey Lance can be that kind of move.
They said too, he will have some design plays, so he's going to be on the field either way, at least for
exactly.
snaps.
What are the chances that some design run and they use him like a Taysom Hill in an odd way, right? Where Trey Lance is responsible for 2 touchdowns. He's 3 to 4 passing attempts, and 2 of them are touchdowns, or they give him 2 to 3 carries and 1 or 2 of them are touchdowns. A 3 touchdown game from Trey Lance would absolutely make him the milli maker winning quarterback in your lineup. So tread lightly, but it is an exciting, idea to look at in this one. And Barkley goes without saying, not a little, he's a lot too much, but I have put Dallas Goedert in some lineups in favor of Grant Calcaterra, who filled in admirably at the tight end 1. But Philly and Jalen Hurts are going to absolutely beat the shit out of Dallas. Again, I have Philadelphia to win like 28 to 17 or 31 to 17, something like that. I think Philly has a defensive touchdown. That makes for a nice parlay. They're the one of, if not the most expensive DSTs on the slate, but rightfully so. That's the only reason I mentioned this game as wanting to talk about it, because I do believe it's going to be completely one-sided. Right. But if you're going to stack up Philadelphia, run it back with Kevontae Turpin.
And our last minute, I want to hear, how are your lines, Texans? Call that out, because that's arguably, again, that's the other big matchup. 2 teams with 6+ wins. Going to Houston, Collins is back. How do you feel Detroit's going to do tonight?
Without a single ounce of homerism or bias, I'm not kidding. When we're done here, I'm going to record the single game slate for Sunday Night Football. The Lions have been just too much for a lot of teams. And again, let's say I wasn't born and raised in Detroit, and I'm not Detroit beastie. I don't know what else. I'm Chris from Kansas. I don't know what else. I don't know
if Albuquerque Beastie would have the same ring.
No, because then I there'd be meth and it'd be bad news. But when you look at Detroit, at Houston, over-unders 49, I have the Lions to win 28 to 14. So they win by 2 scores. Could it be reminiscent of last week when they played Green Bay, where the final score, I mean, excuse me, I don't know how you could say winning by 14 points is a close game, but it could be a chance where it's 21-0, 17-14-0, something like that. And CJ Stroud does what he can, but at the tail end of the last broadcast, I heard sophomore slump. You said Caleb Williams has regressed. I don't think CJ Stroud has regressed, but it's been tough, and the Lions are just absolutely rolling. And I've already heard that Lions fans have absolutely taken over the scene in Houston already. And the comment or the tweet I've seen most is Houston, we have a problem.
I love it. Chris, I always enjoy spending this hour with you. I appreciate all your insight and knowledge. Be sure to check out all the stuff on Fantasy Six Pack. I agree with Jamie. He is a genius. And me and Chris will be with you for week 11 next Sunday. But I hope everybody has an amazing day where all your bets and DFS lineups are winners. We'll see you guys soon.